Well, Madam President, I have an update for the information of all senators and for the information of the American people. And it's good news. At last, we have a deal. Help is on the way. The American people are already rising to this grave challenge, and the Senate is about to follow suit. We're going to pass this legislation later today.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Have you been tested for the coronavirus?
No, I have not been tested for the coronavirus. I've had, thank God, no symptoms that I'm aware of.
Mary?
Excuse me. And I think we've been
public. But first off, in this crisis,
I'd like
spoke earlier. He's talking.
and
you're supposed to cough into your elbow. I don't know.
Actually, that's true. But fortunately, I'm alone in my home. But that's okay.
Transport him directly to sick bay.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
All of a sudden, the Chinese coronavirus is looking like a real threat that could be a global epidemic or maybe even pandemic. So that was late January. What were the other news outlets saying then? The Washington Post launched a barrage of articles explaining how coronavirus fear was totally irrational. February 1st, get a grip, America. The flu is a much bigger threat than coronavirus for now. They put their wokeness above your life, as they always do and always will.
Unchained and unstoppable.
The Senate is going to stand together, act together, and pass this historic relief package today. Struggling Americans are going to go to their mailboxes and find four-figure checks to help with their bills.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. If you would like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon, we try to keep people's spirits up. And before we get to the Joe Biden daily dose of comic gold, I have some good news from the on the supermarket front from the People's Republics of Cambridge and Boston. Mayor Marty Walsh has temporarily allowed the use of plastic bags at supermarkets and other retail stores in Boston, lifting a heralded ban that took effect in December 2018 to reduce pollution. We understand that retail establishments our residents rely on, like grocery stores, pharmacies, and restaurants, need added flexibility to best serve their customers. Don't we need added flexibility at all times? Not just in this. But this is not the first. This is not the first city to do this. Cambridge on Monday announced, listen to this, a ban on reusable bags at stores in the city. Does that mean I can't bring my WGBH National Panhandler radio bag, which is disgusting and gross, and I got in the Jimmy Carter administration? That means I can't bring it into the Stop and Shop on Memorial Drive? I can't bring it into the Whole Foods on wherever the Whole Foods is in Cambridge? The city order also requires stores to stop charging customers 10 cents for supplying bags for their purchases. That's good. See, so I want to just tell you there are some silver linings to the darkest cloud out there, and these are just a couple of them. We'll think of more as we go along. 844-500-4242. But every day, Joe Biden is in his new virtual campaign mode, and every day it's a treasure trove of good material. I'm just looking at the cut sheet. I haven't even heard all of these, but let's just start up with cut 20.
It also offers significant additional support for unemployment insurance. And it will go a long way to provide the financial lifeline for middle-income folks.
A lifeline. Is that like Lyme disease or quick Lyme that they used to use on the bodies of the victims of Whitey Bulger and Stevie Fleming? A lifeline to middle-income folks. Okay, now let's go to cut 22.
It doesn't include the cost-free treatment for the COVID-19, whatever the costs are relating to that. It should be cost-free.
But let's hear that one again. We have to hear that one again.
It doesn't include the cost-free treatment for the COVID-19, whatever the costs are relating to that. It should be cost-free.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. May we quote you on that? Now, where was this taking place, Taylor? Where were these where were these virtual interviews taking place today?
This one was just his personal Periscope Twitter video. This was his little town hall press briefing kind of thing on the coronavirus.
Just his own personal pinsies, as they say.
His Monday morning quarterback talk.
All right. Well, here it's also important that we deal with pay for teachers. So take it away, Mr. Vice President. Cut 27.
I think that we should provide not only for at post high school, but pre-grade school. I think we should be tripling the amount of money we provide for school districts that have low income basis, Title I schools, from $15 to $45 billion a year. That will allow teacher pay to go up because your generation and the one between you and the people that are up to 45, they're not going in or staying in education anymore. They can't compete because if they graduate magna cum laude from a great university with an education degree, they get paid somewhere about 22% less to start than anybody else except a social worker.
What the hell is he talking about? I tried to follow that, but I have no idea what he was talking about. That was like a word salad. He just threw all the words and threw some statistics in on top, and mixed it all together, and it came out as gibberish.
Sometimes he throws his words into a blender.
But here's what we must not do.
But here's what we okay, this is one I heard this morning. It's about, the old joke line, I have good news and bad news. What do you want first? With Joe Biden, he gave his Joe Biden version of that old saw, cut 11.
The good news is the bad news. The bad news is people know me. The good news is they know me.
Okay. Are we just putting too much of this stuff out at once? I mean, are people like driving off the road or falling off their porch when they're hearing?
There's not too many people driving off the road these days.
That's just what I was thinking. Yeah, I know. I don't see too many people that I'm in danger of hitting if I cut across a couple of lanes. But then we call it he and Nicole Wallace, who's not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree either. It's not like a Mensa meeting when those two gather together, even via Skype. And so they're wrapping up their brilliant. It's like a Lincoln Douglas debate on live TV via Skype, and they're wrapping it up, and they have to thank one another because that's what politeness is all about. Cut number 12.
Joe Biden, just a guy in his basement talking to a gal in hers. Thank you for spending some time with us. We're very grateful.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you
Bye-bye.
for spending so much time with us. Thank you.
And thank you.
You hang up. You hang up. No, you hang up.
Thank you. Thanks. You know what how they say in Mexico, they have a different word for everything. The word for thank you is gracias. Got it? Thank you. Thanks for telling me that, Nicole. Oh, and thank you, Mr. Vice President. Oh, I'm just a gal in my little basement. My brain's in my basement, too. And my IQ isn't really in the it's in the sub-basement, my IQ. All right. Okay. 844-540. Okay, let's have okay, cut number 19. Cut number 19.
But here's what we must not do.
All right. Okay, let's have a little more rambling here. Before we go to the break, we'll have one more. This is, Ramblin' Rose. This is Joe. This is Biden rambling. He's rambling. Cut 17.
Now, students from grade school to college are being denied months of important milestones and experiences because of this pandemic. No spring semester, no spring break, no championship games, no year-end concerts, no graduations. And they didn't do anything wrong. But especially for those just entering adulthood or launching their careers, job opportunities, their dreams are being snatched away. Look, none of us want to be cooped up in our homes just as the weather is turning nice, just as spring break travel plans are approaching, just as the campaign for the presidency is kicking into high gear. It's unfair to all of us, and it's unnecessary for all of us, but it's necessary in fact. It's necessary for all of us to have to deal with it. We have to stay home because we can transmit live viruses to other people before we feel the signs of sickness ourselves. We all have to behave as though we're already infected.
He's very concerned about spring break, isn't he? You think a guy who's like 85 years old wouldn't be worrying that much about spring break?
This is usually about the time when I order my Girls Gone Wild videos.
If you're going to swim in your pool, you make sure that the bathing suit is well cleaned, unless you're like me and you like to swim naked. At least when there's some female Secret Service agents around. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Super Beats.
Oh, all right. You've been hearing me talk about Super Beats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beats? You can take it from me. The benefits of Super Beats, I'm holding it up now for the camera, are incredible. I feel much better when I have some Super Beats. I have some in the morning when I wake up. I put a little bit under my tongue or put a little teaspoon into a glass of water and then stir it up and drink it right down. I feel a lot better. And this is a time when you want to feel better and you want to do anything you can to improve your health and your general attitude. Keep a positive mental attitude. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beats. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow. Better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. And the science team behind Super Beets has conducted 11 clinical trials and was even given the Science Award by the Nutrition Business Journal. This level of research is unheard of in the nutrition category. These are just some of the reasons why I love Super Beets and why it's worked for me and for Grace and for Taylor. To try Super Beets risk-free for 90 days, visit www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie and get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie
hard. With Honey, it doesn't have to be. Honey is the free online shipping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes so you don't have to search for one yourself. No more Googling promo codes and only finding expired ones. No more digging in the dark corners of the internet, desperately looking for a discount. Just download Honey to your computer and head to one of your favorite shopping sites like Walmart, Home Depot, eBay, Target, etc. When you check out, click the little Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey has over 100,000 five-star reviews. That's a lot. So you know it must be good. In fact, Honey's found over $2 billion in savings for its nearly 20 million members. Not using Honey is literally passing out free money. Download Honey on your computer for free at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that and we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
That song is called Your Love is Like a Seesaw.
Oh, I thought it was a yo-yo. Sorry about that.
You've been singing it wrong for a long time.
My love is like a yo-yo.
South China, Maine. This is Al from Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Hey, I'm Ann.
844-500-4242. We have a cheap bastard deal here. We're trying to keep you healthy here on the Howie Carr Show, not just with Super Beats, but we've got another deal today for various supplements, CB5 supplements and hand sanitizers. And to tell us about the product is Dr. Brenda L. Hilby, and she's been a chiropractic physician for 20 years. Brenda, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Hey, my pleasure.
So tell us about what the listeners are being offered today here, Dr. Hilby.
Okay, so what we're offering today for you guys is we have some great hand sanitizers, and what we want to do is for the first 20 customers that go on to your website.
Yeah, HowieCarShow.com.
50% off.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. And we're offering them 50% off all of our immune boosters, and they will receive free hand sanitizers and pain roll-ons.
Okay.
And then after that, they can go to our website at boomernaturals.com, and we'll help them out there as well.
Okay, so this is just for the first 20 people will be eligible to get the cheap bastard deal, and this is $128 value for $64, and this is good stuff. This is all kinds of supplements, and then two bottles or containers of the hand sanitizer. And also on the line, I believe, is Russell Wong. He's the president of the company. Is that correct? Are you there?
Hi. Yes, I am. Thank you.
So
I'm the vice president of sales and marketing.
So, Mr. Wong, tell us about what the listeners are being offered here today.
Okay. So first of all, on your website, they're going to be receiving the immune booster tinctures, which are AM, regular, and PM. They are patent pending, medically created terpene blend products that are going to help support the immune system, also help with anxiety, pain, and sleep issues right now. Those are available. You get 2 of them for the price of 1. Plus, you're getting 2 free hand sanitizers and 1 pain roll-on at the Howie Carr website.
Howie Carr
After
Show
those
website.
are sold out, then
yeah.
Yes.
And now, what
After
are
those are
when you
sold
say
out
these
there,
are
then-
supplements? When you say these are supplements, how do the people take them?
Okay, so we have tinctures, gummies, and roll-ons. The immune booster products are gummies and tinctures, so they're droppers. You take the droppers 2 or 3 times a day,
Okay.
and the gummies also you can take 2 or 3 times a day.
Okay, so they're just drops and gummies.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yep, they're called tinctures. Yep, so they're little drop bottles that you put underneath your tongue.
Okay, and those are the supplements, and then you get the 2 bottles of hand sanitizer as well.
Correct. And a pain roll-on, a $20 pain roll-on. So we're covering all bases for you. We're dealing with getting you the sanitation with the hand sanitizers, helping with pain and inflammation with the pain roll-ons, and then boosting the immune system with the gummies and the tinctures, and then also helping you with anxiety and sleep issues.
And this is and I'm just looking at the sheet here. This CB5 formula is FDA compliant, so it's been approved by the Food and Drug Administration. So it's not snake oil; it's been approved, so everything is there.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's been created by neurosurgeons and internists, psychiatrists. We have a full medical advisory board that have developed this formula, and it is patent pending right now.
30 seconds.
And it's a perfect time for people to help boost their immune system and make sure that they stay strong during these times.
All right, so there's only 20 of these available. They're half price, $64. The full retail value is $128. You get the supplements, the roll-ons, and the 2 bottles of hand sanitizer. Only 20 available, so go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on store right now. And then go to Boomer Naturals. This is Boomer Naturals, CB5 products. Thank you, Dr. Hilby and Mr. Wong. I'm Howie Carr.
Campers, have you thought of upgrading your RV or camper this year? This is Howie Carr. Right now at Cold Springs RV, you can shop great preseason deals on a brand new 2020 camper. Go see the latest in pop-ups, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motor homes. Cold Springs RV is your one-stop shop with over 200 acres of all things camping. It started with a camp resort, then came the RV center and superstore. Now they have the region's largest state-of-the-art service center and auto body shop. That makes Cold Springs your destination for all things camping. Remember, at Cold Springs RV, the doors are always open so you can freely browse. So go check out the latest 2020 models and see for yourself. If you're looking for a pre-owned RV, you'll also find one of the largest selections in New England. Don't miss the year's best selection and early bird savings at Cold Springs RV, and tell them Howie sent you. Cold Springs RV, Route 114 in Ware, New Hampshire. Online at coldspringsrv.com.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. So what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. So are we allowed to grow? I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year because I've destroyed her political career and now I won't get a chance to run against her, and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
Did you already blow it on your New Year's resolution? Didn't stick to that trendy new diet plan? Stop the roller coaster and get the weight off for good. People still say to me, wow, Howie, you look really great with all that weight off. But it's a lot more than looking better. It really is about feeling better, too. For me, it's about not having to wear a CPAP mask in order to sleep through the night. I'm able to go on bike rides every day. Sometimes I go on 2 or 3. I have much lower blood pressure, a lot more energy. I still eat what I want to eat, but
we have John
Guys, here's 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's
And don't forget, Howie, we got to do the poll question.
which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable.
That they wanted their voices to be heard.
I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because they are not getting paid 163. Was it 163 Republicans voted no? Wisdom from the kitchen of the Willard Hotel, yes, ma'am. The president either doesn't know what he's talking about or doesn't want to know what he's talking about.
Mike Bloomberg is spending millions of dollars on all of his campaign ads, but we put together some of our favorite Bloomberg clips, and guess what, Mike? This one's totally free.
I think we disproportionately stop whites too much and minorities too little. To be a farmer, it's a process. So you dig a hole, you put a seed in, you put dirt on top, add water, up comes the corn. Then we had 300, you could learn that.
Donald Trump is the world's biggest schoolyard bully.
Big gay ice cream is the best. The Communist Party wants to stay in power in China, and they listen to the public. When the public says, I can't breathe the air, Xi Jinping is not a dictator. He has to satisfy his constituents, or he's not going to survive.
He's not a dictator?
No, he has a constituency to answer to.
I'm ready to get to work, so let's get it on.
I would be 79 years old when I took office. To start a 4-year job,
Taylor.
maybe an 8-year job.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Is Joe Biden worse as a real candidate or a virtual candidate?
I'm going to say he's worse as a virtual candidate, because if he's a real candidate, the other candidates like a Bernie or a Trump, they have to have a tracker out there following him around to get him on tape. And every once in a while, the tracker has to take a break. He needs to go to the bathroom, have a smoke, get a cup of coffee. He may miss something. With the virtual candidacies, we don't miss anything, do we, Taylor? We got it all.
I mean, yeah, but you don't have him yelling at real people. So I think he's worse as a real candidate.
I'm going to say he's worse as a virtual candidate.
I'm going to say virtual because when you're on a Skype call, there's always an amount of delay. And when you're Joe Biden, it feels like the delays are 4 minutes long between when he talks and when the other person talks.
It's like when you talk to somebody overseas and there's like this 2-second delay. Joe could be in the next room and it's like there's a 2-second delay because it takes him longer to figure out what you're saying.
I mean, is that really different from real life Joe Biden? Anyway, 59% say real Joe Biden is worse.
All right. Okay. This is going to be a good poll question. Joining us now on the line is one of our favorite guests from powerlineblog.com. That's one of my favorite websites to visit every morning, John Hinderaker. And he wrote something today about how the Democrat networks are tuning Trump out with these real press conferences. These are virtual press conferences. These are real press conferences that Donald Trump and his coronavirus task force has every day at the White House. And John Hinderaker, do you think this is the first time in TV history that the networks have decided their ratings are too high, so they have to pull out of these briefings? It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is, Howie. Yeah, it's so funny. for a long time, the news media have been saying that Trump should give more press conferences. He should talk to reporters more. Actually, he gives a lot if you compare it to Obama. And now these daily coronavirus press conferences have really been a phenomenon. And the cable news networks had double the ratings they had at the same time a year ago, but they didn't like them because Trump is doing too good a job. And the other, Mike Pence and the others who are on stage are coming across well. They're giving out good information. On Friday, Rachel Maddow said that she thought that the network shouldn't carry these press conferences because Trump lies, right? And on Monday, for the first time, her network, MSNBC, as well as CNN, cut away midway into the coronavirus press conference. Apparently, it's no longer newsworthy.
Yeah, and I like last week, I think it was Stephen King, the horror novelist and well-known moonbat. He tweeted out, "I can't believe that President Trump is just surrounded by white males." And then you look on it, and there's this totally diverse crew of people behind. I think Stephen King must be suffering some of the hallucinations that enabled him to write all those books. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And how about this? How about this quote that you put in in your story? MSNBC, "We cut away because the information no longer appeared to be valuable to the important ongoing discussion." Okay, so here's the kind of stuff that they cut away.
Out there, who's got a hammer? Where is it? Where's the hammer? Is it on go up on the other floor? Somebody go up there and stop the hammering. Stop the hammering. I'll go down to the floor myself and stop it. Keep the commercial break going. Call Phil Griffin. I don't care who the you have to call. Stop the hammering.
So I guess that's better programming than, have people being informed about what they do to stay healthy and, stay employed.
Yeah, it wasn't very long ago when news about the coronavirus, about the Wuhan virus, as we like to call it, was the only thing that these people wanted to put on the air. That this is the only important thing for the public to know about. All of a sudden, as Trump's approval rating rises and approval of his handling of this situation rises, I think 60% is the most recent number I've seen. All of a sudden, it's no longer valuable to the important ongoing discussion.
Right. It's like the same thing with the terminology. It was okay for them to call it the Wuhan virus or the Chinese virus. But when Trump started calling it that, then it became xenophobic and racist to do it. Right.
Well, that's exactly right. They're desperately looking for things to attack Trump out over this, which I may be wrong, Howie. I'm always the optimist, but I don't think it's going very well for them. I mean, they tried to sneak all their left-wing goodies that they could ever get through Congress into this stimulus bill, the $2 trillion package. Whatever you think of it, you shouldn't sneak all those left-wing goodies into it. And the reaction from voters was so outraged that they caved within about 24 hours, right? So I don't think that their cynical approach here is selling very well.
Right. Well, this is the second time, John, that the Democrats in the House have caved. They put in a bill, I think, about 10 days ago when this first started developing as a major national issue. They wanted to open the borders. That was their plan. Open the borders. Remember that? And that lasted for less than 24 hours. Yeah.
Right. They wanted to limit the president's statutory authority to limit travel to and from other countries. And by the way, if you look at all the crazy stuff that's going on, and like a half hour ago, literally, Howie, Minnesota's governor, I live in Minnesota, just added us to the list of states who are completely shutting down because of this alleged crisis. We've had one death in this state, one death, an 86-year-old lady, and they are closing down the entire state. But if you look at all the crazy stuff that's been done, and then you say, well, what was done that was effective? The effective early action was the one that President Trump took when he banned travel to and from China. That really helped back in January.
Which was, and he was, again, accused of being a racist and a xenophobe for doing that. And Tucker Carlson has pointed out, he put up on the screen a bunch of tweets and news stories from places like the Washington Post at the late January, early February, saying, get a grip. They put that was one of the writers said, get a grip. The flu is much worse than coronavirus. Don't fall for the for the panic, and now they're saying, oh, the president wants to trade off the lives of elderly people. Wait a second, do you know who Joe Biden's advisor is on coronavirus? John, you know this.
I don't.
It's Ezekiel Emanuel.
Oh, yeah.
The guy who said, after the age of 75, you ought to just go home and die. And now he's the guy who's advising Biden on how to save old people. Yeah. Come on.
It's so ridiculous. And of course, we have Governor Cuomo with if it saves just one life, it's worth it. Shut down the entire economy and hope to save one life, which is madness. I mean, this is a completely insane, irrational approach to risk management. And if this is any kind of a precedent, we're in real trouble.
Yeah, the other thing about Cuomo too is he does these press conferences that go on and on and on. In Albany, he's like the warm-up act, the undercard for the president's press conferences, and so he says a bunch of things, and sometimes he actually has positive things to say about how it's going or how the president's treating it. But if you watch the thing live, and then I just happen to the studio I'm in, I have to walk by a bank of TV sets, you know how that works, and so I see the sound turned down with the chyrons of CNN, John, and they always cherry pick the worst possible things that Cuomo says. Nothing positive, like he was saying today. Social distancing seems to be working in New York City. It's doing a lot better. None of that stuff. It's just the number of cases is skyrocketing. Do you think that could be because they're testing more people, John? I mean, they were all excited last night about that. Then last week they were screaming there weren't enough test kits out there. Now there's millions of test kits and more people are testing positive. Go figure.
Yeah, right. Exactly. The cases numbers are completely worthless. As you say, Howie, that's simply an artifact of more and more testing. What we need to look at is the fatality numbers. And I got to tell you, Howie, I'm not saying this isn't a serious issue or something worth our attention. It obviously is. But so far, according to the Centers for Disease Control, 737 Americans have died from this virus. 737. Now, just 2 years ago, the regular annual seasonal flu killed 61,000 Americans, 61,000. I don't think we're going to get there.
Right. Yeah. 40,000 dead in automobile accidents a year. 16,000 murdered with handguns. Murdered. I mean, not just and suicides. You want to say suicides? It's two or three times that amount. And it's unfortunate. I mean, how many people die of fentanyl and heroin overdoses?
Exactly. The fact is that there are millions and millions of people die. I mean, it's sad but true. Every year, something like what's the number? 460,000 is it? Hang on one second, I can get it really quick here. Die around the world from just like our 61,000 of 2 years ago. The average number globally is about 470,000 people, die from just the seasonal flu virus. 470,000 people. So far, about 16,000 people worldwide have died from COVID-19. So, we're getting hysterical over something that is a problem. Yes, it is a disease. Yes, we hate diseases, but the magnitude of the overreaction is incredible.
Yeah. It's almost like this is another way to go after Trump. If he opens if he declares the emergency's over, he'll be blamed for every post-Easter death that occurs. If he doesn't lift the emergency ban, he'll be blamed for all the people who are unemployed, all the businesses that are folding. It's like they have him in a lose-lose situation, and that makes them giddy. And you see it in their questions that the press corps is asking him, I think.
They're absolutely giddy. And, one of the things we're seeing is that the left is trying to suppress any good news about this virus. There's a number of examples of this. And we had one here locally where a guy who was in the healthcare industry, very high-ranking guy, very able guy, wrote the equivalent of an op-ed saying that there's an overreaction to the COVID-19 virus and sent it into the Minneapolis Star-Tribune and said, I want to place this as an ad. I'm going to write you a big check, to run this as an ad. And they refused. They turned him down. They said it violated their guidelines, and they quoted the guidelines. Well, it obviously didn't. And we wrote about it. My partner, Scott Johnson, wrote about it this morning on Powerline. And about 2 hours after he wrote about it on Powerline, the newspaper changed their mind and said, okay, never mind. We'll take your money. It doesn't violate our guidelines. But, this is just a great example of how the left is trying to keep a balanced understanding from getting through to people.
Don't you get the feeling, too, they're kind of giddy? Speaking of that word giddy, about the measures that they're able to jam through. I mean, look at the mayor of Los Angeles is saying, if I say you're a non-essential business and you stay open, I'm going to cut off your electricity and your water. Wow.
Right. And then you have various mayors like closing down gun shops, right? They always wanted to do that. Now they say, we're going to close down the gun stores.
I know.
No, I mean, it's really pretty frightening, the amazing powers that these governors and mayors have asserted under the cover of an alleged emergency.
Yeah. And the mayor of Champaign, Illinois, of all places, Champaign, she wanted to shut down gun sales and liquor stores. Oh, how ironic, huh?
That's a big question.
Champagne.
I gotta tell you, I looked at the federal page that our governor referred to. If you want to know who's an essential business, look at it. 2 items. Number one, newspapers, as far as I can see, are not on it. So are they going to shut down? I really want to see. Number two, food places, grocery stores, and so on are all okay. They're essential. They stay open. And then at the end, there's a vague reference to beverages. And what everyone wants to know is, does that mean liquor stores?
Right.
Because if it doesn't mean liquor stores, you're not going to be able to fight your way into one.
I know. The mayor of Denver, it was the mayor of Denver, the governor of Colorado, was they issued an order, and they mistakenly forgot to include liquor stores and weed shops. And there was a near riot for about 5 minutes until they corrected that official state document. John Heineracker from PowerlineBlog.com. You should write a column tomorrow, John. It's the big 80th birthday of Speaker Pelosi. She's joining the.
Is that right?
Yes.
She's had a lot of work done, though.
Yeah, she has. She has. But she's entering the at-risk group tomorrow, the most at-risk group tomorrow. 80 years young.
Well,
all right, John. Thanks for being with us, as always. We appreciate it. John Heineracker, PowerlineBlog.com. Check it out. It's a great blog. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Cape Gunworks in Hyannis. Learn more about their new virtual classes. Go to CapeGunworks.com. For all your gun and ammo needs, Cape Gunworks in Hyannis.
Buying a new car, truck, or SUV should not be complicated or confusing. If you see someone advertising a price that is too good to be true, it probably is. At Banks & Concord, you will always get the lowest price. That's a promise. With over 2,000 vehicles in stock in one location, Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC will save you time and money. Browse our huge selection in person or online at banksautos.com. Our knowledgeable online sales team will make sure you are truly getting the lowest price, and they can take care of most of the details before you even walk through the door, saving you time and money. Right now, qualified buyers will be eligible for an incredible 0% financing for up to 84 months. With a 120-day to select vehicles. Come take advantage of this great financing option on the new 2020 Chevy Equinox, Trax, or even a beautiful new Chevy Silverado 1500. Interest-free financing is also available right now on all 2019 models for qualified buyers. Chevrolet, find new roads, banksautos.com. Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC in Concord, New Hampshire. Always the lowest price. That's a promise.
And now, some of my favorite fake Indian cuts of all time.
I'm not going to ask you for your favorite curse word. Actually, I am. Do you have a favorite curse word? Poop. Poop? Oh, that's a goody two-shoes favorite curse word if I ever heard one.
Are you kidding? Have you ever seen a woman like me look you straight in the face after you...
Hey, Howie?
Yes.
We sold out, but you can tell people they can go on your Twitter or Facebook and click the link to get another special offer. They can just go.
Complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth or your teeth are discolored or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian.
The Cambridge police acted stupidly.
And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton.
There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book. I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper.
If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke.
A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
This is Alex from East Bridgewater, Mass.
This is Ann in Saco, Maine.
This is John Succo from Hanson, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. The cheap bastard deal is sold out, but you can get a similar deal. It's a pretty good savings if you just go to boomernaturals.com/Howie. boomernaturals.com/Howie. Okay. So we've got more Biden cuts. We're going to take some calls here too, and but I guess we don't have too much time, so let's do some more Biden cuts. This is and
those poor people who have lost, anyway, it's just the heart goes out to them.
No. Listen,
my heart goes out to them. Okay. Cut 8.
to make a choice about who leads this country.
I just can't figure the guy. It's like watching a yo-yo. I shouldn't have said it that way. It's like watching.
It feels that way. I want to ask.
Have some more tapioca pudding, Uncle Joe. Everything will be fine. Cut 7.
Why doesn't he just act like a president? That's a stupid way to say it.
Donald Trump was asked on.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I probably best I don't.
I'm not as young as I used to be. That's my wife over there. Oh no, that's my sister. Or is it my daughter-in-law? Or is it my nurse? I'm Howie Carr.
Every 4 years, we as a nation agree to suspend disbelief and accept at face value the word of people who are both strangers to us and to the truth. We call this quadrennial descent into self-delusion the presidential election cycle, and we here at Matthews Brothers have lived through 41 of them over the past 166 years. Now, while we expect our trusted politicians to look us in the eyes and lie to us about their past behavior and future performance, we're less tolerant about performance claims when it comes to important stuff like medicine or windows Unfortunately, stretching the truth is not limited to those seeking public office. We see it in the home improvement industry as well. In a desperate effort to make a sale, some companies will exaggerate, distort, hyperbolize, and otherwise try to mislead the public. That's why we here at Matthews Brothers love the interwebs and all the data they contain. We believe that the more accurate information a consumer has, the better equipped they are to make a choice, whether it's a window or even a president. You can learn more about the amazing performance of our authentic, wicked awesome Maine-made products, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
There are plenty of differences between Trump and the Democrats running for 2020, but the main one is Trump's pretty funny. Take a listen.
What advice would you give to the 25-year-old Donald Trump knowing what you know today?
Don't run for president. I'm not a drinker. I can honestly say I never had a beer in my life, okay? It's one of my only good traits. I don't drink. Whenever they're looking for something good, I say, I never had a glass of alcohol. I've never had alcohol. Can you imagine if I had? What a mess I'd be. I'd be the world's worst. Other countries, big countries, India and others, we had to pay because they considered them a growing country. They were a growing country. I said, what are we? Are we allowed to grow too? Okay. No, are we allowed to grow? I try like hell to hide that bald spot, folks. I work harder. Doesn't look bad. Hey, we're hanging in. I should have saved the Pocahontas thing for another year because I've destroyed her political career and now I won't get a chance to run against her and I would have loved it. I don't want to knock out all of the good stuff and end up with somebody that's actually got talent. That would be terrible.
Jim Acosta, without a doubt, wins the competition for Trump's least favorite journalist of all time. Let's listen to some of their feistier moments.
I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Should I let him have a little bit more? What do you think, Peter? Peter, should I let him have a little bit more? Sit down. I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
When I raise money, excuse me, I've watched you on television. You're a real beauty. Honestly, I think you should let me run the country. You run CNN. All right. And if you did it well, your ratings would be much better.
If I may ask one other question, Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President, what do you say to your critics who say that you're concocting a national emergency here in order to get your wall because you couldn't get it through other ways?
What do you think? You think I'm creating something? Ask these incredible women who lost their daughters and their sons, because your question is a very political question, because you have an agenda. You're CNN. You're fake news.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard to fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As a joke, I just said, geez, I'd love you to be able to fix my TMJ. And I was surprised because Dr. Houghton specializes in working with patients like me that have TMJ.
What were the results of visiting Dr. Houghton at Perfect Smiles?
Not only did I walk out of that office with a perfect smile, but he fixed my TMJ. It was a life-changing event. People tell me now that my smile is amazing. People would say, geez, John, your teeth look so great. I never realized my teeth looked so bad before. Now I take a look at the before and after pictures and I'm amazed.
Go to Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire, or visit their website, perfectsmiles.com. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy'd out.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you
fake look, but the technology that we have available and the artistry that we can create now really makes things so natural that most people, in fact, most dentists are just surprised that we can create what we can create nowadays. Everyone is different. Everyone has different facial dimensions, different bone structure, and we do everything we can to individualize treatment because there is no one perfect smile. It is your perfect smile.
Dr. Houghton, where can people find you?
So you can find us at perfectsmiles.com or call 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE, 844-A-PERFECT-SMILE.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We were told by the experts that crack, you never go back.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Give me a break.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Well, Madam President, I have an update for the information of all senators and for the information of the American people. And it's good news. At last, we have a deal. Help is on the way. The American people are already rising to this grave challenge, and the Senate is about to follow suit. We're going to pass this legislation later today.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Have you been tested for the coronavirus?
No, I have not been tested for the coronavirus. I've had, thank God, no symptoms that I'm aware of.
Mary?
Excuse me. And I think we've been
Public, but first of all, in this crisis,
I'd like
spoke earlier. He's talking.
and
you're supposed to cough into your elbow. I don't know.
Actually, that's true, but fortunately, I'm alone in my home. But that's okay.
Transport him directly to sickbay.
Who's your captain?
like a real threat that could be a global epidemic or maybe even pandemic. So that was late January. What were the other news outlets saying then? The Washington Post launched a barrage of articles explaining how coronavirus fear was totally irrational. February 1st, get up, grip, America. The flu is a much bigger threat than coronavirus for now. They put their wokeness above your life, as they always do and always will.
Unchained and unstoppable.
The Senate is going to stand together, act together, and pass this historic relief package today. Struggling Americans are going to go to their mailboxes and find four-figure checks to help with their bills.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Welcome to the Howie Carr Show. If you'd like to join us, our toll-free number is always 844-500-4242. And the crisis, or the alleged crisis, continues with coronavirus. And as you know, tomorrow the House is supposed to vote on the Senate package. The Senate has approved, or is approving, will approve today, a $2 trillion package, which when you figure everything out, I think Larry Kudlow, the president's economic advisor, saying it's more like $6 trillion. And the House will come back supposedly and get this done. And tomorrow's a very big day. They're going to have the first unemployment numbers. It's going to be bad news, obviously, as people are losing their jobs, being laid off, businesses are closing. We have a pending serious problem with commercial real estate. Businesses are already letting their landlords know that they can't meet the nut. They can't pay the monthly rent lease payments for April. It's tough. And we also have bigger news, the biggest news of all. Madam Speaker Nancy Pelosi will turn 80 tomorrow.
I thought you were going to say we have big news, the biggest news, Grace's news.
Grace, my news for you, Grace, is I want a big birthday splash for Madam Speaker.
Happy birthday to you.
Also, the 80th birthday of James Caan, Sonny Corleone in The Godfather.
Oh my gosh, I loved Sonny.
Yeah. So Nancy Pelosi, this is she's had a big year. The Ukrainian hoax, and now she's tried to add the Green New Deal, all kinds of massive attempts to increase voter fraud in the United States, bailouts of Planned Parenthood, et cetera, into the relief package for working Americans.
Howie, I have tons of news that does not have to do with Nancy Pelosi. Do you mind if I jump right in here? Because I think you're going to want to hear all of this.
Go right ahead.
Bill Cosby's lawyers want him released from jail amid coronavirus pandemic.
Well, who doesn't want to be released from jail?
Bill Cosby, Dr. Huxtable to some of you out there. His lawyers are filing a motion to get him released from his Pennsylvania jail and put on house arrest amid reports that at least one prisoner officer has tested positive for COVID-19. He was sentenced to serve 3 to 10 years at the jail, and his attorneys are preparing to file a petition that would get him moved to house arrest in the next few days.
But Grace, I mean, all the bad people are trying to be released from jail. How about Michael Avenatti, Stormy Daniels' lawyer? He is requesting that he should be released from federal prison. And Trump tweeted about that. Gee, that's too bad. Such a fine guy. Presidential aspirations, you know.
Did you see Trump's tweet about Mitt Romney testing negative for coronavirus?
I'm sure you've got it, Grace. Run it, you read it to us. This is hilarious. This is even better than the Michael Avenatti tweet.
He said, "This is really great news. I am so happy I can barely speak. He may have been a terrible presidential candidate and an even worse U.S. senator, but he is a rhino and I like him a lot."
And there were some exclamation points in there that Grace didn't bother mentioning, but that made it even more choice. And so apparently he got the word that Mitt was being tested at the Sunday news conference, and a reporter just asked him, Romney's in isolation, Trump said. Gee, that's too bad. And then the reporter said, is there sarcasm in your comment, Mr. President? He said, no, none at all. Tongue firmly in cheek.
I also want to read you, this is unbelievable. Jennifer Rubin, the conservative opinion writer for the Washington Post, self-proclaimed, has come out with a column headlined, "Can the Coronavirus Obliterate Some Republican Myths?" Okay. And this is from Newsbusters, and they picked up some really important quotes from this story, and I'm going to read them to you. Here we go. Both the pandemic and climate change are inescapable facts with deadly outcomes unless our behavior radically changes. Right-wing populists obsessed with fanning xenophobia and distrust of intellectuals have been denying
who would have
climate
ever
change.
Who would have ever thought 2 or 3 years ago that xenophobia would be one of the most overused words in the English language? Right now.
There's a distrust of intellectuals that have been denying climate change for years, painting it as a hoax cooked up by China to undermine America's way of life. It's scarily familiar to the coronavirus, huh? And Tucker Carlson said it really well in that introduction, Taylor, which, by the way, was fabulous, where he said they have no limit to their political correctness. Their wokeness will kill you. We all knew this. It was going to happen. We all knew that it's more important to them to be woke than it is anything else. And this is such an extreme that now I'm flabbergasted. I can't even believe we've gotten to this point.
Grace, I thought you were going to read the tweet from Jennifer Rubin about Joe Biden's incredible performances in his virtual appearances on all these networks.
I didn't want to make myself ill on radio.
Listen to I'm going to read you this tweet, and then we're going to play just one of Joe Biden.
Oh, Howie, can I pick the one we play? Okay,
you
I have a really good one.
You pick the one you want, and I'll pick the one that I want. So they'll both be fantastic, folks. But here is how Jennifer Rubin describes all of his appearances. Biden displays nearly every quality and ability Trump lacks: appreciation for expertise, candor, respect for fellow Americans, empathy, understanding of government, foresight, thoughtfulness, and my favorite, coherence, and a reverence for American values and spirits. Coherence. So here's the one I want to play. Can I go first, Grace, or do you, ladies first?
Age before beauty, my friend.
Okay.
Go ahead. You go first. Pick yours.
Cut number 20.
It also offers significant additional support for unemployment insurance. And it will go a long way to provide the financial lifeline for middle-income folks.
The financial lifeline.
See, I'm way more partial to a Life Lemon, but that's just me. Everyone has different tastes. Howie, I just set mine up a little bit. So there was a girl who was asking questions at the end, virtual press conference or whatever he's calling it, and she said to him, you have a real problem with how President Trump is doing, but his numbers show that people think he's doing a good job. And then Biden, towards the end, tried to rebut that and say, yeah, well, as far as the pandemic, he's doing well, but not his actual numbers. And he was corrected by this random person on Skype. And it's a thing of beauty. It's going viral on Twitter. Let's play cut 30.
And I noticed that the president's numbers of the public have gone up in handling this crisis, but they haven't gone up in terms of his presidency.
Gallup did show he is now at 49% job approval, which is a reversal from a few weeks ago. So it's just an interesting development. It does suggest that the American people see him as a stronger leader than you've been maybe characterizing him.
Well, I hope that he's so strong that he's up way above that, because we need the help now.
The experts that you find on these Skype interviews, it's amazing. I'm shocked. She was the only girl who had a good question. for Joe Biden. And I don't know how she got through the system, because I'm sure his campaign aides were like, who let that lady on?
Cut 11, Taylor.
The good news is the bad news. The bad news is people know me. The good news is they know me.
This is like an old comedy. Like, who's on first? The good news is the bad news, and the bad news is the good news. No, remember how he in Greece, that guy? Everybody get out on the dance floor, and you're going to dance like this, and you're going to dance like that. He doesn't even make any sense. And I feel bad for him because, I don't know. They're all, I have a feeling everyone's positioning Cuomo to run, and there's just fawning for Andrew Cuomo everywhere you turn. It's like the leader we all need, and him and Chris Cuomo keep doing their little routine.
The thing is, though, Grace, nature abhors a vacuum, and there's a real vacuum between Joe Biden's ears, right?
Yes.
I mean, somebody has to fill the gap. Bernie, why do you think Bernie is refusing to drop out or suspend his campaign? He thinks, something might happen. But there's no way Biden can be the nominee, is there? I'm serious.
Well,
I wish he were.
Someone said to me today, I was talking about, Andrew Cuomo, everyone seems to be hero worshiping him now because of the job he's done. And I was talking to someone this morning, and they said, I mean, all you have to do nowadays for the Democrats to love you is come outside with your pants on. And all of a sudden you're like this massive superstar. It's like, he has the charisma. He has the way about him. It's like, no, he's just not insane. That's all it is. Howie, when we get back, I have big updates that include Trump's ratings in these press conferences, and also some good news for the drive-through lovers out there.
All right. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by IPL and Skin Wellness of Dover, New Hampshire. For all of your permanent hair removal, skin irregularity, and enhancement treatments by certified estheticians, go to IPLandskinwellness.com.
At Subaru of New England, we believe in vehicles that families can trust. The all-new 2020 Subaru Outback starts at only $26,645 with 0% financing for up to 63 months. With your Subaru purchase, get 90-day payment deferral from our participating retailers. It takes love and community to make a difference. Our New England
and marketing professionals, would you like to advertise on the Howie Carr Radio Network? Howie's show reaches all across New England. And you know who's listening? Your next customer, client, or business lead. If you're interested in advertising on the Howie Carr Show, call 800-227-7300. That's 800-227-7300. You're listening to Howie, and so is your next customer. Call 800-227-7300 right now.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Chris.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever, is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Is Kennedy Babylon 2 your last book?
No, if I think of another topic for a book I want to write, I'll go for it. But I think it's the last of my Kennedy Babylon series. I made Kennedy Babylon 2 kind of long because I wanted to get everything in there. Now there's other stuff I could write about, but I'm Kennedy now.
Since having the sleeve operation, do you miss not eating big meals?
No, I don't. I can still eat what I used to eat. I just can't eat as much. I'm now very surprised how much I used to eat. I'm surprised at how much people I eat with consume. It's just hard to believe that I used to eat that much, but no, it's not a problem.
How is Mr. Gooner since Pearl's passing?
Mr. Gooner is drowning his sorrows in food.
What is the most trouble you ever got into as a kid?
My father was giving me grief one time up at Moosehead Lake in Maine, and I threw a rock at him. He didn't much like that.
Hi, this is Val from Longmeadow, Mass.
Hi, this is Tony and Petra from Havel, Massachusetts.
This is Myrnie in Fairfax County, Virginia, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beets. I'm holding up the jar right now. This is what you get. It's great. I use it twice a day. So does Grace. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie.
And Howie, when everyone asks me and they say, Grace, what coffee do you drink? Because you always seem so energetic during your segment. It's not coffee. It's Super Beets.
Super Beets.
It gives me a boost of energy.
Yeah, then that's what you need. Keeps you healthy, too. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Is Joe Biden worse as a real candidate or as a virtual candidate?
We're prejudicing the audience. We're tainting the jury pool by playing all these virtual sound cuts. But I'm voting virtual today.
63% say real Joe Biden is worse.
Really?
I'm saying virtual because I had to pull a lot of this virtual audio. And I have to say, it was really enjoyable for me. If he does these every day, I will pull these every day, Taylor. I'm willing to make that sacrifice because it's all clear, crisp audio. And there's something at every 30-second mark, you can pull something from it.
The job is yours.
Yes.
All
and
right.
that's, Howie, do you want the good news or the good news? Or do you want the bad news or the bad news?
Doesn't matter because the bad news is the good news.
There we go. Okay, I'm going to start with some, depending on who you are and depending on what your ears prefer to listen to, you could take this either way. Lionel Richie thinks it's time to bring back We Are the World for coronavirus victims.
Oh.
You remember that song, Howie?
Yes, I've
We
just
are the world.
I went to therapy to get it out of my mind, but now it's coming back, Grace.
Some people on Twitter were retweeting this and saying, oh, for the love of God, please, no. Why are they doing this to us?
I know.
These celebrities think that singing is the
Wait,
cure.
don't they have two already? Isn't there one and then there's like a Christmas version?
We are the world.
Let's go back to Imagine. If I have a choice between Imagine and We Are the World,
there's
I'll
a
take
poll
Imagine.
question.
That is a poll question.
That's a poll question. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Is there a third option that involves
suicide?
Jussie Smollett singing, because that came out today too. He says he's in day 421 of quarantine because that's when his event happened.
What's his new song entitled? Not Guilty, Your Honor?
I think he did a
Mega Country,
a cover of Stevie Wonder or something. But we will have that as one option too.
He's living for the city. Or is he
Howie,
living for the Cook County Jail? I think the Cook County Jail.
I have more good news. Wendy's is giving out a free Junior Frosty with any drive-through purchase for a limited time.
Ooh.
I
like that.
Howie, would you get vanilla or chocolate?
I don't know.
You always get chocolate.
Yeah.
You got to dip the fries into it.
For those
But
of
I
you
like
who
vanilla too. They're both good. Can I have both?
For those of you who are maybe new to the program, one of our listeners hates the way Howie says the word chocolate. Howie, can you say it for that guy? He might need to pick me up.
Chocolate.
Chocolate. In other good news, the IRS unveils new details about tax day after extending the deadline in a historic fashion. I don't believe this has happened in a long time, to July 15th. So people have a lot more time to figure out their taxes.
To procrastinate.
So all the people at MSNBC, don't worry. You have some extra time to get your taxes in order. Coronavirus quarantine sends online alcohol delivery sales surging. So I saw this as a poll question too online. I think it was VB's producer, and then some people are consuming more as time goes on.
How about this as a question? I mean, is it a good idea to let restaurants, when they're doing all this takeout and delivery, to allow them to bring you booze?
I mean, at that point, if I'm a restaurant and I have no idea what they're going through.
I would do anything to keep the restaurants in business. So I would allow them to sell beer, wine, and mixed drinks if it were up to me.
I think so too. And I know I think they did that in New Hampshire. But if you're a restaurant, you're probably thinking, oh, this sounds is it better than going out of business? I think it is, Grace. Yes, 100%. I mean, I'm not opposed. Get myself a little quarantini with my tacos when I pick it up. I'm on board.
All right. We'll be right back with your calls. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Why is finding promo codes that actually work so hard? With Honey, it doesn't have to be. Honey is the free online shipping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes so you don't have to search for one yourself. No more Googling promo codes and only finding expired ones. No more digging in the dark corners of the internet, desperately looking for a discount. Just download Honey to your computer and head to one of your favorite shopping sites like Walmart, Home Depot, eBay, Target, etc. When you check out, click the little Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey has over 100,000 five-star reviews. That's a lot. So you know it must be good. In fact, Honey's found over $2 billion in savings for its nearly 20 million members. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. Download Honey on your computer for free at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying. Hitler was a Christian. Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on?
A little like makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
If you're in or near the financial red zone, that's 2 to 5 years from retirement. Do you know how your nest egg would fare if the market had a major correction? Does your plan have too much risk? Are you being too conservative? It's time to stress test your retirement plan. Call Kevin Frisbee at Frisbee & Associates and ask for your retirement plan stress test. It's a $500 value, and it's yours at no cost. 800-989-9100. Find out where bear market. Kevin can help take the worry out of living in retirement. Call now for your no-cost or obligation retirement stress test, a $500 Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for a market review and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Did you have any pets when you were younger?
I had a cat named Dexter. That was my first pet. And then I had possession of 2 poodles when I lived in Palm Beach, Princess and Frisky. They weren't really my dogs, but I took care of them. They lived with me. So they were my dogs. I love those poodles.
When you were a kid, what was the best gift you ever received?
I got this wooden fort from FAO Schwartz in Palm Beach, about the age of 6 or 7, 10 soldiers to go along with it. Such a cool fort. I had that fort for like maybe close to 10 years.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Probably Goodfellas. I love Goodfellas. I love it even more than The Godfather.
What is your favorite dessert?
Oh, that's a tough one. Probably chocolate ice cream, followed by vanilla ice cream, followed by coffee ice cream.
The word that's helping Elizabeth Warren get through her so-so campaign? So.
Will you raise taxes on the middle class to pay for it? Yes or no?
So the way I see this, so understand, taxing income is not going to get you where you need to be the way taxing wealth does. So no, and I'm not here to criticize other Democrats. So my proposal is that student loan debt would be canceled up to $50,000. So,
Elizabeth, can you put this issue to bed and tell us whether or not you are, in fact, a member of a minority group?
So, middle class families.
Why did you list yourself as an American Indian on this Texas bar application?
So, I grew up out in Oklahoma. So look.
Why did you check those boxes?
So.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. We had a cheap bastard deal earlier in the day on our radio show, and it was sold out very quickly. Boomer Naturals is what it was, supplements to boost your immune system. The boomernaturals.com, you can go to that website, boomernaturals.com, and click on the Howie Carr link, and you'll receive 2 free hand sanitizers and a pain roll-on for every item you purchase with no limits. It's a great way to get what you need to help you and save at the same time. So the cheap bastard deal is over, but go to boomernaturals.com and you can get pretty much the same deal with the Howie Carr link, boomernaturals.com. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. You know, Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts, which has brought back plastic bags. There are silver linings to this major dark cloud that we're all living under. But Cambridge and Boston have both brought back plastic bags. They were banned in for the greater wokeness of the communities. And Cambridge is actually banned reusable bags. But the big real estate owner, landlord in Cambridge and parts of Boston as well as Harvard University. Harvard University has an endowment of over $40 billion. $40 billion. So do you know what Harvard University has done now? They have laid off all of their dining hall workers because the university has shut down the school because of coronavirus. They've laid off the subcontracted dining hall workers without pay. Based on the local wage standards, it would cost Harvard $710,000 to provide 4 weeks of full-time paid leave for all of these dining hall employees. That would represent 1,000% of Harvard's endowment, but they're not doing that. The University of Chicago, by contrast, has an endowment of $8.5 billion, about a fifth of what Harvard has. And they're paying their contract workers through the end of the academic year. This is a staff writer for The New Yorker, Nathan Heller. I assume he's a legacy of some sort. This is somewhat embarrassing. Harvard University could not be described as cash-strapped. You think, Nathan? They're not cash-strapped? Or market vulnerable, and presumably payment of all of its dining workers was budgeted for the year. It should pay them as budgeted. So that's Harvard. Do as they say, not as they do. 844-500-4242. Martin, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Martin.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Okay. I'm a veteran, and my wife and I are seniors, and we really love what President Trump has been doing for the last 4 years and what he's doing for this coronavirus. I've talked to a lot of seniors and a lot of veterans, and they're with me on it. But after he gets reelected, which we all hope he is, I think they should put the icing on the cake and give him a Nobel Prize like he deserves.
That's a good idea, Martin, but what do you think the odds really are of that happening?
Well, if the previous president got one after he was in for only 3.5 months, why not a man that really deserves for doing a job that he does do?
Yeah, but Nobel Prizes don't have anything to do with anything. You know that. I mean, they gave it to Yasser Arafat too, a terrorist. And they give Nobel Prizes out for literature. Have you ever? When was the last time you'd ever read anything by a winner of a Nobel Prize for literature? It's all about political correctness. It's like the Pulitzer Prizes for journalism. The Washington Post and the New York Times a couple of years ago gave themselves Pulitzer Prizes for their deeply reported stories about something that didn't happen, the Russian collusion hoax. But that's a good idea. That's a good thought, Martin. I'd just settle for him being reelected and getting a second term to dismantle the deep state and keep the economic recovery going. I think that's the most we can hope for. There's not a Pulitzer or a Nobel Prize in his future, unfortunately. 844-500-4242. Will, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Will.
Hey, Howie, how are you?
Good.
Listen, first of all, I think CNN should stand for the Cult News Network. Because if you think about it, like when you listen to all these networks, seriously, you listen to like what do cults do? They all repeat the same thing in unison, and they say whatever the leader of the cult says.
Right.
They repeat it in waves. MSNBC, CNN, all of those people.
And another
Here's
thing
what
too,
I'm
Will.
concerned
Another
about,
thing
Howie.
too, Will. Anyone who deviates from the cult's teachings has to be totally shunned and excoriated. The way they don't disagree with Donald Trump. They want to destroy the guy.
Well, that 100%. Couldn't agree more. That's why I always try to tell my friends, listen, you got to be careful whatever you hear on TV, always question it, because you're getting it from like a cult. It's like the same way with Scientology. You just wouldn't listen to a Scientologist tell you how life is and what you're supposed to believe without saying, wait a minute. You just walked out of Scientology? What am I crazy?
Well, it's the same thing. Well, the same thing applies with climate change. I first realized that when they started saying that if you disagree with them on climate change and you think maybe nothing's really happening out of the ordinary, they call you a denier. Like like you violated the orthodoxy of their religion. They people like Sheldon Whitehouse, the senator from Rhode Island, and there's a congressman from New Mexico. They've talked about putting people in jail for disagreeing with their cult, their orthodoxy on climate change. That's why these people are very scary too. Another thing about CNN and MSNBC, I didn't realize it till today. There's a story out. The Friday press conference on the coronavirus from the White House, it got 8.2 million viewers on all the big cable news channels. A year ago, when there was just routine news breaking, 2.8 million. So they tripled basically the audience. And what was the response of CNN and MSNBC? They began to speculate on air whether maybe it was time not to carry the press conferences live. This could be the first time in the history of TV that networks were disturbed about getting more viewers, higher ratings. It's amazing. And again, it's another indication, Will, that they're a cult. Danny, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Danny.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I was just wondering if I was capable of canceling my car insurance since I'm locked down here in New York City, and the insurance company said I can't cancel the insurance because I'll get penalties if I don't turn in my plates. I was wondering if the governor could just ease up on that ruling so we could just hold the insurance back.
So you can't use you're in New York City, you're locked down, so you want to cancel your car insurance and the company won't let you cancel your insurance?
You can cancel it, but you have to turn your plates in right away because that's a penalty.
Oh, I
for not
see.
having
Oh, I
insurance.
see. So, but so you can't just go down to the DMV and turn in the plates? Don't they have like like you return a library book at the library when the library is not open?
I'm sure you could probably do it. They'll prorate your plates, and then you're going to have to re-register and everything. I'm just saying, since we can't use it.
I think this is a question for your local assemblyman or your state senator, and Andrew Cuomo is too busy running for president to address these kinds of more what he would say are mundane issues. Although I understand exactly what your problem. I understand why you would want to get to the bottom of this. He can't drive. New York City is in a lockdown situation, and has become the epicenter of the pandemic in America. And so he has no need for a car. He can't use a car. So why is he paying for the insurance? I don't know what I could do for you, though. Call your assemblyman. 844-500-4242. Deb, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Deb.
Hi, Howie. I love your show.
Thank you.
I have a question. I'm 67 years old and I am on Social Security. But I am disabled. I have multiple health concerns and I have an autoimmune disease, so I'm high risk. When they're talking about if and when they get the stimulus package through,
yes,
and checks start going out to these families, is there going to be any financial help for us our senior citizens, or is this just for families?
Deb, I don't know the answer to that question. They apparently, I was just reading during the last break that one of the problems today was that Bernie Sanders has been objecting to some aspect of it involving payments to the unemployed. And I don't know if that includes people on Social Security and the disabled as well. I don't know who's going to get it. I've gotten a lot of texts over the last couple of days from people who are retired, and they want to know if they're going to get a check. But I do not have the answer to that question. Again, I think this is a question for your, in this case, your congressman or your U.S. senator, not a state senator. I wish I could help you, Deb, but I don't know the answer, and I'm not sure if anybody knows the answer outside of the people who are wearing the green eye shades on Capitol Hill at this point. John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
Hi, yes. I just wanted to comment. I found it very interesting that basically the media on the left, CNN, etc., were very quick to say that the president was offering false hope when he mentioned chloroquine, hydrochloroquine, Zithromax as solutions. But yet, when Andrew Cuomo was mentioning it, it's very positive. He's giving hope to the people.
Right.
He said exactly the same thing.
Right.
And yet he was giving hope and the president was giving false hope. So, I mean, it just furthers that, that just proves that their narrative is just to be Trump haters.
Yeah. I mean, anything he does is bad. And, when they said there was no problem with coronavirus, that was good. When the president said, well, maybe it's not the end of the world, that was bad. When they said it was a Chinese virus or the Wuhan virus, that was okay. When he said it was the Chinese virus, that was racism or xenophobia. It's been this way since November of 2016. This is just the latest example of it. I mean, look at dealing with North Korea. He's going to cave in to the dictator of North Korea. Then he calls him Little Rocket Man. He's going to cause World War III. They were all for moving the U.S. embassy to Jerusalem in Israel. Then when he said, I'm going to finally move it, fulfilling a promise made by Barack Obama, among others, that became the worst thing. That was going to cause World War III in the Mideast. I mean, it's everything. Everything he does, they oppose it just on general principles. 844-500-4242. Thanks for the call, John. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr will return after this brief commercial break.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the Salt Air Inn Bed and Breakfast in Bar Harbor, Maine, just steps away from Acadia National Park. Call Matt or Christy at 207-288-2882. That's 207-288-2882.
Buying a new car, truck, or SUV should not be complicated or confusing. If you see someone advertising a price that's too good to be true, it probably is. At Banks in Concord, you will always get the lowest price. That's a promise. With over 2,000 vehicles in stock in one location, Banks Chevrolet Buick GMC will save you time and money. Browse our huge selection in person or online at banksautos.com. Our knowledgeable online sales team will make sure you are truly getting the lowest price, and they can take care of most of the details before you even walk through the door, saving you time and money. Right now, qualified lessees can lease an all-wheel drive 2020 Chevy Traverse LS for only $329 per month for 36 months, or a 2019 Silverado Double Cab for only $299 per month. Chevrolet, find new roads. Bank Chevrolet Buick GMC in Concord, New Hampshire. Always the lowest price. That's a promise. BanksAutos.com. Must have a current GM lease within household. See dealer for complete details.
Whether it's global warming, global cooling, or climate change, one thing's for certain, the progressive moonbats can't stop talking about it.
We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
You know, I've spent a lot of time now with these young students, and they're scared. And a lot of young people are even suffering from, they're calling it extinction illness.
So that we can have people here who truly are committed to climate change, believe in climate change as though it's a religion, it's not a science.
A woman whose dreams of motherhood now taste bittersweet because of what I know about our children's future.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
That curing cancer is going to be much more difficult when there's so much climate change and pollutants in the environment, because a lot of cancer is environmentally caused.
Recognizing and acknowledging the link between animal agriculture and climate change is a very bold move, making tonight plant-based.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
So now you've broken your elbow. Have you ever broken any other bones?
When I was 8 years old, I broke my leg. I was playing touch football in Portland, and a big kid, a 15-year-old, tackled me. When I was in my 30s, I was going down the stairs, and one of the kids' toys was on the stairs, and I tripped on it and broke my foot. I lost a tooth playing touch football when I was just out of Deerfield. I got smacked in the jaw. My tooth went up, and I still have a bridge, a crown from that mishap. I have a replacement hip, and now I have a bunch of pins in my left elbow.
When do you plan to retire?
I don't plan on retiring. As an old football coach once said, once you retire, there's only one big moment left. You know what that is.
Mark in Williston, Vermont.
This is Marie in Somerville, Massachusetts.
This is Mike from South Attleboro, Mass. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. In that last segment, I just told one caller from New York City to call his assemblyman, his state rep, and I told another caller to call her congressman to find out about what's in the relief package for retirees, if there is indeed anything, because I don't know the answer. I don't know. I haven't read it anywhere. I've looked at a lot of stuff, and again, they're still haggling over the details. But I just got a text from a Limerick guy. He's in Western Massachusetts. He says, H, I'm a retiree and I would call my congressman, but it's the Sheik. That's Richie Neal. He's a member of Pelosi's leadership. Worthless as you-know-what's on a bull. So what's the sense? He's a master of talking, but not saying anything. I agree, Limerick guy. But, the thing is, in these kinds of situations where you're asking for just a constituent question, you're not arguing philosophy with the Sheik. Just ask him, what does he know? Someone will get back to you in the Sheik's office, I would think, to tell you about what's in the package for various people, various constituents. 844-500-4242. Just wanted to read you this thing. The mayor of Walton, Kentucky, I don't know if you saw this. He posted this on his Facebook page, Mayor Gabe Brown. I don't know if he had a few cocktails before he wrote this or not, but it's kind of funny. It was at 7:08 p.m. So probably not, but maybe who knows? Listen up, bleeps and sensible people. You need to realize this is a serious ordeal. In fact, it's a big bleeping deal. I guess he's channeling Joe Biden there. Stay at home. I'm tired of COVID-19 conference calls. I take 3 a day plus 1 extra on the weekend with Kenton County. If you don't like what I'm telling you, then go buy some toilet paper. This will pass. Take it seriously. It is here. Act like you have the virus and don't spread it to other people. Be responsible. If you don't, then screw you.
I like this guy.
Warmest regards, Mayor Gabe Brown from
Where can I mail my ballot?
Walton, Kentucky. I have a feeling it's kind of a small burg, but I might be inclined to vote for him. At least he's telling me what he really thinks. He's not trying to give me the Vaseline job.
Does he live anywhere near a distillery by chance?
What does it matter where he lives near a distillery? The distillery is not making bonded bourbon anymore. It's making hand sanitizer now. It seems like most of them are in 3 or 4 different states. They've switched over they make more money now with hand sanitizer than with bonded Tennessee whiskey or bourbon. Tim, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Tim.
Hello?
Hi.
Hey, who's this?
This is Howie, the host of said program.
Next.
Bye. RB, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, RB.
Oh, Howie.
Hi.
I'm calling from lockdown Manhattan. Last week you talked about elite colleges as in Harvard keeping staff, non-academic, keeping staff and paying them full salary with the students. Okay?
Yeah.
Hey, you're talking about them cutting their kitchen staff. I went to a college in Pennsylvania. Bucknell, that has a dean of diversity. What the hell does she do all day?
I'll bet. You know what? I'll bet my daughter went to Bucknell, RB. I'll bet they have a dean of sustainability too. That's the new thing. Diversity is so 1990s. Now they have sustainability. But that is a really good point. I wonder how many deans of diversity and assistant vice chancellors and provosts Harvard University has cut off when they were doing away with their subcontracted cafeteria staff. I'm going to say 0. No sustainability administrators have been cut. I'm Howie Carr. Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally met rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
We went to the White House for the Christmas party. In your opinion, what was the highlight?
The highlight of my trip to the White House with Grace, there were two. Number one, when we walked into Trump International Hotel, which she'd been dreaming of going to, and her eyes were wide. And then when the president actually came down the stairs, her eyes were even wider. She was so in awe of being there. I really felt like King Farouk, you know? I felt like I was giving someone a really great gift that they couldn't get otherwise.
You've had some really good interviews over the years. Which one was your favorite?
I can't really say what the best interview I ever had, but one that just occurred to me was Jesse Helms, the senator from North Carolina. I interviewed him one time, and he went to high school with my mother in Monroe, North Carolina. And the first words out of his mouth were, "Howie, I know your mother before you knew your mother." And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Campers, have you thought of upgrading your RV or camper this year? This is Howie Carr. Right now at Cold Springs RV, you can shop great preseason deals on a brand new 2020 camper. Go see the latest in pop-ups, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motor homes. Cold Springs RV is your one-stop shop with over 200 acres of all things camping. It started with a camp resort, then came the RV center and superstore. Now they have the region's largest state-of-the-art service center and auto body shop. That makes Cold Springs your destination for all things camping. Remember, at Cold Springs RV, the doors are always open so you can freely browse. So go check out the latest 2020 models and see for yourself. If you're looking for a pre-owned RV, you'll also find one of the largest selections in New England. Don't miss the year's best selection and early bird in Ware, New Hampshire. Online at colesprings.com.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me, it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair
come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store and in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Joe Biden might be running for president in 2020, so we should play some of his greatest hits.
Barack and I finally reduced the disparity in sentencing, which we've been fighting to eliminate, in crack cocaine versus powder cocaine. Correct. It was a big mistake when it was made. We were told by the experts that crack, you never go back. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. If there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts. They're going to put you all back in chains. Give me a break. That's a bunch of malarkey.
The 3-letter word, jobs. Jobs. Jobs.
One man stands ready to deliver change we desperately need. A man I'm proud to call my friend. A man who will be the next president of the United States, Barack America.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
We all love President Trump's off-the-cuff comments, but he's never in rarer form than when he's speaking at a rally. Take a listen.
I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes, and now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying.
I don't know. I'm not a vain person. But I look better under an incandescent light than these crazy lights that are beaming down on. That guy's got a serious weight problem. Go home, start exercising. Got a bigger problem than I do. Now he goes home and his mom says, "What the hell have you just done?" How do you top that? I'm just ready. The big, beautiful crescendo and this character's going back home. One person just going home to mommy a little bit sooner. These are phony people, but that's okay. You know, when you think of it, I'm president and they're not.
You really have to elect me. Whether you like me or not, it makes no difference, because our country will go to hell if any of these people get in.
Why is finding promo codes that actually work so hard? With Honey, it doesn't have to be. Honey is the free online shipping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes so you don't have to search for one yourself. No more Googling promo codes and only finding expired ones. No more digging in the dark corners of the internet, desperately looking for a discount. Just download Honey to your computer and head to one of your favorite shopping sites like Walmart, Home Depot, eBay, Target, etc. When you check out, click the little Apply Coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database of all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Honey has over 100,000 5-star reviews. That's a lot. So you know it must be good. In fact, Honey's found over $2 billion in savings for its nearly 20 million members. Not using Honey is literally passing out free money. Download Honey on your computer for free at joinhoney.com/Howie. That's joinhoney.com/Howie.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
How did you come up with the name BB?
My first producer and I both had steady girlfriends, or we were married or whatever. And BB was always saying that we were whipped. You know what I mean? Finally, I said, "You don't even have a girlfriend. I've never seen you with a female. As a matter of fact, I don't think you have ever had sex. You are just a virgin boy."
What is your biggest fear?
That Donald Trump will not be reelected in 2020, and that some horrible Democrat will come in and finish off the destruction.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Well, Madam President, I have an update for the information of all senators and for the information of the American people. And it's good news. At last, we have a deal. Help is on the way. The American people are already rising to this grave challenge, and the Senate is about to follow suit. We're going to pass this legislation later today.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Have you been tested for the coronavirus?
No, I have not been tested for the coronavirus. I've had, thank God, no symptoms that I'm aware of.
Mary?
Excuse me. And I think we've been
public. But first off, in this crisis,
I'd like
spoke earlier. He's talking.
and
You're supposed to cough into your elbow. I don't know.
actually, that's true. But fortunately, I'm alone in my home. But that's okay.
Transport him directly to sickbay.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
All of a sudden, the Chinese coronavirus is looking like a real threat that could be a global epidemic or maybe even pandemic. So that was late January. What were the other news outlets saying then? The Washington Post launched a barrage of articles explaining how coronavirus fear was totally irrational. February 1st, get a grip, America. The flu is a much bigger threat than coronavirus for now. They put their wokeness above your life, as they always do and always will.
Unchained and unstoppable.
The Senate is going to stand together, act together, and pass this historic relief package today. Struggling Americans are going to go to their mailboxes and find four-figure checks to help with their bills.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
You know, Mara Healey has really laid down the law to Jeremy Jacobs, the owner of the new Boston Garden, make sure that he does the right thing by the laid off concession workers because of the lack of Bruins and Celtics games and various assorted concerts. I wonder if she'll be taking a close look at Harvard University too, to make sure they do the right thing. Or do they get a pass because they're a little more politically correct than Jeremy Jacobs? Just asking. A lot of the texters are interested in knowing that too. We're going to do the Trump line quickly here because we have a member of the White House coronavirus task force. They'll be joining us after we do the Trump line. So we're going to start it right now.
Joe Biden, thanks to you, incoherent is the new coherent.
We've been playing so much Joe Biden stuff, we haven't had a chance to play any Nancy Pelosi cuts. But there'll be plenty of time for that tomorrow on her 80th birthday.
Come on, give Joe Biden a break. He's just torturing the teleprompter operators that ordinary presidential candidates can't be bothered to torture.
I wonder if his handlers thought when they put up the teleprompter, well, we won't have any more problems now. We can just read off the teleprompter. That was not the solution, as it turns out. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, whose wicked awesome windows and doors are only available through Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals.
I'm Joe Biden, and I confused this message.
And tomorrow I'll be confusing another message. And stand by for the Life Lime. And if you don't like the Life Lime, we've got a Life Lemon for you.
I'm Joe Biden, and I was born a rambling man, trying to do the speaking and doing the best I can. But when it's time for speaking, I hope you'll understand that I was born a rambling man.
I want to be president of the United States America. I used to be the vice president under Barack America.
Governor Cuomo says that New York is the canary in the coal mine. Howie, what's a coal mine?
It's what Hillary Clinton said she was going to shut down. It's what Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders say they are going to shut down. Anyone who works in a coal mine and votes for a Democrat is a canary.
Howie, Joe Biden calling. Come on, man. I don't need you or Charlie Parker lecturing me on sanitation. The fact is, I'll stop coughing into my hand when you start digging through the trash for empty cans. You lying dog-faced pony soldier. I mean it.
There's no need for going through the trash cans now for cans. The governor has said that the grocery stores don't have to redeem the cans, right? Isn't that the way it's working now? And incidentally, the governor has now shut down the schools through May 4th. May 4th. kind of a lengthy vacation for my daughter. As long as she gets paid, I guess it's all right.
Mitt Romney tests negative as a Republican.
That would have been the ultimate great tweet for the president to send out. Maybe it's not too late. Maybe he can tweet that out tonight now that he's heard it.
Hey, Howie, Bill Wells doesn't have to worry about getting the virus. He's 70% alcohol.
He's another guy who tested negative for being a Republican.
Here, I hear coronavirus survives on metallic surfaces. Does that mean I have to clean my lucky Coke spoon?
I thought you were going to be talking about the Delmont 88 that was owned by your sainted mother, Rose Kennedy, that went down the drink after you had multiple drinks.
Here, a bit. That goes, Joe.
Well, cut 19. Here it comes.
Here's what we must not do.
That's all, folks.
It doesn't include the cost-free treatment for the COVID-19. Whatever the costs are related to that, it should be cost-free.
Cost-free, it's Joe Biden is idea-free, brain-free.
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night, including weekends. The Chump Line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday, and if you don't make the regular Chump Line, go to Chop Chumps. That's our podcast that's posted every night after the show. Chop Chumps. The Chump Line is brought to you every weekday at this time by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer, whose wicked, awesome windows and doors are only available through Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals.
Mitt Romney tests negative as a Republican.
Yes, he does. Did they even need to do the test? Was there any chance that he would test positive as a Republican? I'm Howie Carr. Oh, hold on. What do we got, Taylor?
You can go on for a minute or two if you want.
Oh, okay. All right. 844-500-4242. We may have a slight delay, so we got more time. So let's play some more. People seem to like these Joe Biden cuts. So here's one. This is Joe Biden on student loan debt. Cut 15.
In addition to that, I think if you're going to a public university in your state, it should be free for everyone.
Play one more cut.
That's how it should be. And you should not end up with some gigantic debt like my kids did when they graduated.
Hunter had a lot of debt that he owed the colleges, but he owed even more to his cocaine dealer. And now he has paternity suits that he has to pay. He has to pay child support. Do you know how much that debt is? Okay. And then cut 10.
And what is it like to be a candidate in the time of social distancing?
Well, I'm doing fine, thank you. And I think we've been
Public, but first off, in this crisis,
I'd like
spoke earlier. He's talking.
Yeah, excuse me, Nicole. We'll be right back. I'm Howie Carr.
If you change the station, the Moonbats win. You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by MyCube Safe. MyCube is extending their sale for $200 off plus free shipping. Safes are needed now to store cash, ammo, and guns. Email scott@mycubesafe.com. Only 50 available.
Hey guys, it's Grace. Howie is always giving me great advice. Never speak when you can nod. Always get the deposit money on empty cans. But the best advice he ever gave me was to call the
New England for supporting Music Drives Us. Since 2006, we have used the power of music to benefit communities throughout the 6 states of New England. During this time, we've proudly supported more than 200 schools and donated upwards of 1,000 instruments. And this year, we're getting ready to donate all over again. Our work is made possible through your continued support of our musical mission. Whether you donated, volunteered at our events, attended our concerts, or engaged with us on social media, thank you. We hope you'll stay tuned with what we have in store for this year, because it'll be our best year yet. Visit us at musicdrivesus.org. That's musicdrivesus.org. Or follow us at Music Drives Us on social. Together, we can keep music in our schools.
Did you already blow it on your New Year's resolution? Didn't stick to that trendy new diet plan? Stop the roller coaster and get the weight off for good. People still say to me, wow, Howie, you look really great with all that weight off. But it's a lot more than looking better. It really is about feeling better, too. For me, it's about not having to wear a CPAP mask in order to sleep through the night. I'm able to go on bike rides every day. Sometimes I go on 2 or 3. I have much lower blood pressure, a lot more energy. I still eat what I want to eat, but unlike before the sleeve, now I don't overeat. Get the weight off for good. Call Newton Wellesley Weight Loss Center. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss. Don't procrastinate any longer. Whatever your age, whatever your gender, do it. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
If Mr. Gooner was a person, what college would she attend?
The U.S. Coast Guard Academy.
Is Mr. Gooner a conservative or a Democrat?
Mr. Gooner is a fiscal conservative and a social liberal.
If you could have dinner with any president, dead or alive, who would it be?
Calvin Coolidge. He was from Massachusetts, and I liked his attitude towards public sector unions. And he said, the business of America is business. He's my guy.
Other than yourself, which columnist do you respect the most?
The late George Fraser, he was a columnist for the Boston Herald, the Boston Globe. Most people have forgotten him now. Jimmy Cannon was pretty good. He was so good that Mike Barnacle used to steal stuff from him all the time. Breslin was good in his early days, not so good later on, but when he was working for the Herald Tribune back when I was a kid in New York, he was damn good.
This is Jeff in Woodstock, Connecticut.
This is Laura Benner in South Burlington, Vermont.
This is Jimmy Mack in Falmouth, Massachusetts, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. The daily press briefing from the White House is supposed to start anytime now. Joining us now on the line is a member of the president's task force on coronavirus. It's Admiral Brett Gua, and he's a physician. Joie, and he's a pediatric critical care specialist and physician scientist, a graduate of Harvard University, and he has a medical degree from the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center. Thanks for being with us, Admiral, and we appreciate it. And what is the lead today? What are the new developments before the press conference begins?
Well, there's a lot going on, as there is every day, and I really appreciate you having me on. So, number one, our testing program continues to really go really great. We've tested about 436,000 Americans thus far. So we've far surpassed anything done in other countries, and really American industry has stepped up. Healthcare testing has really become much more integrated into the system. Very important. Got to listen to what the president says, and what we're all saying is do that social distancing. Don't get into groups because that's for spread. Stay at home, particularly if that's ordered within your county or your state. That's really the way we defeat this. Now, what we're really working on, aside from, I'm not the legislative person doing all the packages. That was really important last night, and what Secretary Mnuchin is doing to stimulate the economy. But what we're working on right now is, remember, the people who are sick now reflect what happened a couple weeks ago. So we're dealing with the people who have increasing illness, particularly in New York City, but also New Jersey, New Orleans, California, that are really entering the critical stages of their illness, and that's what I'm working on right now.
What's happening with the exodus of New Yorkers to various states? We heard Governor DeSantis in Florida was talking about having some kind of testing, and now I'm hearing from my listeners, my texters, saying that there are a lot of New Yorkers that are coming into New Hampshire. They're coming into Nantucket, the island off of Massachusetts. What is the federal government trying to discourage people from leaving New York, or what's the policy here?
Well, and again, it was some of this was talked about by the vice president last night, and I think there'll be additional clarifications from CDC. But remember, the rate of circulation in New York City is very, very high, and what we don't want to happen is people who have a much higher risk of having the illness go to other parts of the country and act like they're not at high risk. So I think what was asked is if you're from New York and you live in New York and you've left in the last period of time, that it is certainly wise for you to stay at home and not potentially circulate the illness among other communities that you're at. And I think there's going to be a lot more talk about that at the news conference and by CDC tonight. And it just makes sense, right? If you're a truck driver and you go unload a truck in New York, probably not a big deal, right? You're at low risk. But if you've lived in New York and you've circulated in New York, you're really at a lot higher risk of having the illness. And we don't want you to leave New York, not shelter in place. And you can shelter in place in Florida if you want to, just stay in your room. But you really need to not be circulating and keep yourself isolated so you don't spread the illness.
Admiral, any updates on the tests of the anti-malarial drugs against this virus?
Yeah, I don't have any update today for you, and there's a lot of us working this, and certainly Commissioner Hahn is. I think all of us are hopeful that it can have an effect. I don't think we're ready to say that yet. The results in a test tube are extremely positive, but test tubes don't equal people. That's why there are studies going on. But as was said many times, it's all about risk benefit, right? I'm an ICU physician. If I have a healthy patient who's got a mild fever and is doing well at home, you certainly wouldn't want to put them on drugs that you don't know work. But if you're a very sick patient, many physicians are making the choice, and that's appropriate, to treat them with chloroquine or to enter them into another experimental protocol, right? So if you're going to be on a ventilator or on life support, those kinds of things are reasonable choices. They're being done all over.
What about the governor of Nevada? There were sort of conflicting stories today that he had banned the use of the anti-malarial drugs for any coronavirus victims. And is that appropriate? Or should a politician be making those decisions, or should a physician?
So I don't know anything about what happened in Nevada today. So I really don't know what's gone on there. I think as a physician, I think decisions on medication should be medicine and science based. But of course, you can't have chloroquine being given to everyone. But fundamentally, I think that's between a doctor and a patient. But I don't know what went on in Nevada. I don't know the background of it, so I'm not going to comment on that.
Yeah, they're somewhat. The stories are somewhat conflicting about what kind of ban, or if it was really a ban or just a suggestion that he made. But again, I mean,
in America, once a drug is approved by the FDA for any use, it is absolutely legitimate to use it, quote, off-label, meaning it doesn't have to have an indicated use. And many drugs that are being used on the market now don't have, quote, an indicated use, but that doesn't mean they don't work. So in our society, if a drug is approved, a physician and a patient could decide to use that. That's perfectly legitimate. And hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine is an anti-malarial, but it's also used for other things, like in the anti-inflammatory drug in some circumstances. So that is a doctor-patient decision about that use. That's how it works in this country.
One of my listeners wants me to ask you about the CBTS, community-based testing sites. Where and when are they going to pop up?
So they are popping up all over. What we did about a week and a half ago is we wanted to set an example for states, and we firmly believe that this has to be state-led, locally executed.
1 minute.
It's all about the locals. I'm in the federal government, but I'm a believer how to do it right, to help you with barriers by supplying test kits and personal protective equipment and get you started. And what we're seeing right now.
Where are they going to? Are there any in Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine?
There are in Massachusetts. But what I wanted to say is we wanted to put these up sort of as examples. So we put up about 39 of them. But our estimates is there are probably hundreds around the country that have been established locally now that they've got the blueprint. And we've also been able to do something really important, and that is
we're going to have to
prove that just the.
We're going to have to break you there, Admiral, but we'll have you back again. Okay? Thank you very much. I'm Howie Carr. Though our hospitals remain our first line of defense, local urgent care facilities are also on the front line.
Press conference still hasn't started yet.
Okay, I figured as much. Why? New England Center for Hair Restoration has donated surgical gowns, gloves, masks, and eye protection to an urgent care facility in need. You can help too. If you were involved in construction, painting, demolition, woodworking, or auto body, and you know of any commercial N95 masks not in use, New England Center for Hair Restoration urges you to donate them to your local urgent care facility or hospital. And at New England Center for Hair Restoration, the health and safety of their clients and staff is a top priority. They are now doing free virtual consultations from the comfort of your own home. Call today and have a hair restoration specialist remotely evaluate your hair loss and determine the ideal means for restoring your hair. Call 800-313-HAIR for your free consultation. That's 800-313-HAIR. Call 800-313-HAIR or visit 6khair.com. That's 6khair.com. Taylor.
Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about
I'm here with Dr. Bruce Houghton from Perfect Smiles in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dr. Houghton, tell us about the state-of-the-art procedures that can help many people look 10 to 15 years younger.
As we age, we do lose these proper proportions to our faces. And so if you're deficient in your chin or mid-face, we can create the proper proportions and make you look great. Sometimes we use orthodontics to change the look of the face. Sometimes we just use the teeth themselves, and it creates the right support for a beautiful face. They're all non-surgical procedures.
There's some pretty complex cases that you deal with. Give me an example of a tough case.
Well, some cases, people just are missing a lot of teeth. I get a lot of people that come in and think that I cannot solve their problems because they're too great, but I really can. We've been doing this for over 35 years, and there isn't much that we haven't seen.
So even if you're missing a few teeth, or your teeth are discolored, or you're very embarrassed, there's no reason not to come in for a consultation, right?
Absolutely. New techniques, new technology, things are available to us that we never had before, and we can handle just about everything.
Where can people find you?
So you can.
The Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Out of all of your books, which is your favorite title and why?
I think my favorite title is Hitman because it's very effective. I thought long and hard about it. We're going to make it Boston Hitman, but then why make it Boston Hitman? Just make it Hitman. Make it a universal subject.
If you could have dinner with one author, dead or alive, who would it be?
I would probably have dinner with William Shakespeare. I know that's a cliche response, but he was the greatest writer in the English language. No question about it.
If you won Mega Millions, would you retire completely?
I used to say no, I would not retire, but yeah, I think I would retire now.
If you had to leave all of your money to one charity, which would it be?
The Salvation Army. I like what the Salvation Army does. I don't think they have too many highly paid executives trying to be social justice warriors.
Cory Booker said it best.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Here's stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden.
David Duke, the former leader of the KKK. The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan. 8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way. If Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, and the demagogues around the world. We also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS. It would put 720 million women back in the workforce. I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP? Yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP. Well, they're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing? The bills that the future president here, that the senator's talking about.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. So the Admiral said that they're going to be discussing more about the dispersal of all these people from New York. And I guess that's one of the problems that New Orleans has had, that everybody came down there for Mardi Gras, and now they're just seeing a spike in cases, apparently caused, or they speculate anyway, nobody really knows, by all the people coming in from the areas where there were more problems than Louisiana. So Louisiana is becoming an epicenter now. And somebody just from the Cape, one of our Cape listeners, just texted me, just drove by Barnstable Municipal Airport parking lot. Outside row had 22 cars parked. 1 registered in Massachusetts, 1 from North Carolina, 2 from New Jersey, and 18 from New York. How to contaminate the islands. No kidding. So that's a problem. Speaking of North Carolina, Wake County Sheriff, that's Raleigh, suspends pistol concealed permit applications as demand surges. This is from the News and Observer. The Wake County Sheriff's Office will suspend pistol and concealed carry permit applications until April 30th as demand surges amid the coronavirus outbreak, the sheriff announced yesterday. Applications that have already been submitted will continue to be processed. Pistol permit applications. Again, this is Raleigh, North Carolina, the capital of North Carolina. Last week averaged 200 per day, or more than 3 times the roughly 90 applications per day during the same time period a year ago. Pretty amazing. 844-500. Not, I guess it's not amazing. It's to be predicted. That's what people are concerned, as well they should be, and they want to make sure that they have something to defend themselves with. 844-500-4242. Joe, you notice Joe Biden is not talking too much about taking away people's guns in these virtual appearances. When he was accepting the endorsement of Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke, he was going to be his gun guy, and of course Beto says he's coming. He's coming for your guns. That's what he said. 844-500-4242. Let's have a Pelosi cut just to break it up. And again, tomorrow's going to be her big day. It's her birthday. We can't remind you of it often enough. Happy birthday to Nancy Pelosi, who had her picture taken once with JFK, who had Happy Birthday sung to him by Marilyn Monroe. I've taken this about as far as I can go. Nancy Pelosi, cut 13.
I don't have time to follow people's Twitters, whatever tweets. So don't expect me to comment on them.
Well, even beyond Twitter, the president of the United States is signaling that he could open it up. What is your opinion on that?
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Does she have time to follow Joe Biden's Twitter's tweets? I don't know. All right, we're standing by. When the press conference begins today, we don't know when it begins. You know how it goes, but we'll go to it. 844-500-4242. In the meantime, let's take some phone calls. Bob, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bob.
Howie, I have a problem here. I bought 2 12-packs of Coke today, and they charged me deposit on 24 cans.
I knew this call was coming. I knew this call was coming. Do you want me to? I don't know how you want to know. How do you get your deposit back? Your $1.20. You're out $1.20 for those 24 cans, and the store doesn't have to redeem them. Is that right?
Now, what happens is I'll get tired of looking at them in my garage. I'll throw them in the dumpster at the dump, and the state wins.
The state, right? You're right.
Why is that not?
You're right. The state, if you don't redeem the cans, then the state gets your $1.20. It's an old medieval concept. Anything that is in sort of limbo belongs to the state, to the king. Yes. Charlie Parker.
Why hasn't he put that aside for the time while we're going through this terrible time? You know what I mean?
Is anybody else like I'm down here in Florida right now, Bob? Is anyone else talking about this? This would be consuming much of my attention if I were back in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Everybody I speak to has the same problem that I have.
How many cans have you got in your garage right now, Bob?
Maybe 25 or 30. I don't know what that is, but I don't want them laying around because they may be contaminated, and I want to get rid of them, but I'm not allowed to.
Yeah. All right. 781. Captain, Market Basket has closed the can and bottle return on orders from the state. This is BS. They're still charging me a nickel. I am BS too.
Agree, but at the same time, I just want justice.
Bob, there's an old saying, justice delayed is justice denied. And if you can't return these empty Coke cans tonight, that's justice denied, isn't it? Thanks for the call, Bob. This is another issue that's up in the air. They have time to approve lifetime jobs for hacks, which they did today. The governor's council. There were no reporters, nobody in public. They wouldn't even let a reporter from my newspaper dial in for the conference call where they were approving this woman for a lifetime job of $155,000 a year. But they can do that. But Bob and all the other texters now can't return their bottles and cans. Steve, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Steve.
Hey, Howie. I got a quick joke. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote for VP Hillary when he steps down with severe acute dementia.
I don't think she's going to be the nominee, but it's a vote for whoever they pick as the nominee. Do you really seriously think that he's going to be the Democratic nominee in the fall, Steve?
They hate Trump so much. He's the only one getting votes, but he's incapable of governing at all.
Right.
5-year-olds have more coherency.
I agree. That's why I don't think that they can nominate him. And if they put forward someone like Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris, or God forbid, the fake Indian, he's already said he's going to pick a woman, right? So it's got to be a female. And those people are not acceptable, I don't think, to the American people. They're terrible, each in their own ways, different ways. But he can't do it. He can't do it. They've got to get somebody new in there. And I don't know, Bernie thinks it's going to be him. And if they decide that Biden can't do it, which is obviously the case, and they don't nominate Bernie, what do the Bernie bros do? Now they're saying, well, maybe we won't have a nominating convention. Maybe we can drag this thing out and cancel the convention, which would be good news for everybody in Milwaukee because the Bernie bros won't burn down Milwaukee. But they're still going to stay home in November if Bernie doesn't get the prize, the consolation prize of the nomination, right? How can they give it to Cuomo? He hasn't campaigned. He's in favor of free stuff. He's pro-abortion. He hates the Second Amendment, but he's not Bernie. I don't know what they're going to do. 844-500-4242. Here's one, 256. I'm 73 and a retired Army Master Sergeant, 80% disabled, DVA veteran, and Department Army civilian with 180 quarters of Social Security credit. Wow, he's got all that stuff and a small 401k. So I draw 4 pensions, 5 if you count the 401k payment. So I don't need that giveaway money. Neither do people who are still getting paid. Only those like the 67-year-old lady with nothing but SSA payments for income and doesn't make enough taxes. They will get nothing. I don't know who's going to get what. I don't know. I don't think it's clear yet who's going to get what in this package. I'm not even sure it's set in stone yet at this point. Tim, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Tim.
Howie, how are you? I'm concerned about Joe Biden's health. I seen an interview with him on another network, and he's coughing a lot, and it seems like Joe Biden is exhibiting symptoms
Do your live
of the
after this
coronavirus. The question is, if he gets it and dies, what's the DNC going to do for their candidate?
I don't think he's in any. I mean, I don't know. I'm not God and I'm not a physician, but as a layman, I don't think he's in any real danger of contracting it, or maybe he is a slight danger, but he seems semi-healthy physically, a little bit on the frail side, but I don't think he's really the ultimate high risk groups, but his mind is just not there. Obviously, I don't know what they're going to do. It's a big problem for the Democrats, and I think every time he goes on TV, and he's got teleprompters in his house, and he still can't handle an interview. So, what's their plan? What's Plan B? What? I don't think they have a Plan B. All right, thanks for the call, Tim. Online shopping is supposed to be easy. Again, I ordered some more books today online, and it was very easy. I can't go to the bookstores. Everything's closed down here. Probably it's closed where you are as well. And
Howie,
yes.
I didn't order any books, but I ordered a Kindle, and I got it for so cheap because of Honey. So I'll be reading tons of books now.
Well, how much did you save because of Honey?
I got free shipping, and then I saved, I think, $15. But the Kindles now are already pretty cheap, so it was a really good deal. But I don't know if this was a good thing for me because I've been using Honey so much lately. I'm doing a lot of online shopping, but hey, at least I'm saving big time money.
Everybody's shopping more. It's you're doing it for health reasons, and increasingly because the stores, other than supermarkets, seem to be shut down. It's unfortunate, but it's the reality. But to save money while you're shopping online, you need coupon codes, and it's tough to find coupon codes that actually work. This is where Honey comes in. Honey is the free online shopping tool that automatically finds the best promo codes and applies them to your cart. Just download Honey to your computer and shop on all your favorite websites like normal. When you check out, just click the little apply coupons button that pops up. Wait a few seconds for Honey to scan its database for all the working coupons on the web. Then watch your price drop. Sometimes the Honey bar pops down even before I click, and they're looking around. They say they're looking everywhere, and they'll save you, $1, $2, up to $15, as Grace just told you. It's great. It's a fantastic thing. Honey works on nearly every online store, including Walmart, Target, Home Depot, Macy's, Etsy, and more. Honey has found over $2 billion in savings. That's why it has over 100,000 five-star reviews on the Google Chrome store. Not using Honey is literally passing up free money. Plus, it's free to use and installs in just a few seconds. You're really missing a great opportunity to save money. Just go get Honey for free at joinhoney.com/Howie. You're going to save a few bucks. Joinhoney.com/Howie. Save some money. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the maestro of microaggression. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by ButcherBox. Get $20 off your first box plus 2 pounds of delicious free-range, hormone-free ground beef in every box for the life of your subscription when you sign up today at butcherbox.com/Howie.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Christmas.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
John, what happened at Perfect Smiles when you went?
The initial consultation was easy. In the past, they just hand me a clipboard, the fill out the forms, but that's not how I worked at Perfect Smiles. What was nice was it was a true consultation. They asked me my medical history or what I wanted to get out of the treatment plan. For me, I lived with TMJ. I'd literally have to crack my jaw throughout the day to relieve the pressure. I'd get headaches throughout the day. I'd be in pain. When I was at Perfect Smiles, they asked me what I wanted to get out of the treatment. As
Coffee or tea?
Coffee, obviously.
Winter or summer?
Summer. Good Lord. Why would you want winter? It's cold and it's dark.
This is Chris in Rochester, Mass.
This is Mark in Nashville, New Hampshire.
This is Lorna in Truxtown, Pennsylvania. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
We have some Lyft and Uber drivers who text us all the time. Mike, the Lyft driver, and Uber Jason. And Uber Jason says his business is way down because, well, you see it on the street. There's nobody driving. The highways are empty. And And so he says, I'm screwed. No gun, not allowed to own one. And now I find out that despite what Barack Obama said, they're not as cheap as a book is on the streets. You notice that, huh, Uber Jason?
Poll question.
All right. The poll question is brought to you by Super Beats. Experience the amazing benefits of Super Beats. Grace loves them. Taylor loves them. I love them. I just held the jar up. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Is Joe Biden worse as a real candidate or a virtual candidate? He snaps back.
But the thing is, anybody can have a problem with somebody out on the street, right? I mean,
but he's not on the street.
Mother Teresa could have a problem, but when he's in his basement in Wilmington, Delaware, he should be able to handle that, shouldn't he?
Sure, but when he's at his own campaign events, he should be able to handle that too. 63% say he's worse as a real Joe Biden.
The real Joe Biden is worse than the virtual Joe Biden. Okay. All right. Let's play the cut from him yesterday with Jake Tapper. I just can't get enough of this. Cut 6.
Have you been tested for the coronavirus?
No, I have not been tested for the coronavirus.
Starting.
I've had, thank God, no symptoms that I'm aware of. Doesn't mean that can't happen.
Up for the next round of primaries, including...
I've not talked to any individual. Excuse me.
You know, you're supposed to cough into your elbow. I don't know, sir. I learned that actually covering your White House.
Actually, that's true. But fortunately, I'm alone in my home. But that's okay.
Whenever a reporter calls you sir, you know he's giving you the needle. The press conference is starting now at the White House. We're going to go to a break fairly quickly, but we'll take a little bit of it before.
The more lives we can save, and the sooner we can eventually get people back to work, back to school, and back to normal. And there are large sections of our country probably can go back much sooner than other sections. And we're obviously looking at that also. People are asking, is that an alternative? I say, absolutely, it is an alternative. I have now approved major disaster declarations for New York, California, Washington, Iowa, Louisiana, Texas, and Florida. That has great significance, as you know, and legal significance. We're in a constant grouping, and I can say this, we have a large grouping of people that does nothing but communicate with the various officials, including we've been spending a lot of time with New York officials because that really is by far the hottest spot. They've got a number of very tough weeks ahead of them. The governor's doing a very good job. I spoke to the Governor Cuomo, last night and this morning. And he mentioned that in his remarks that he's using that we are using, and I think he feels, because he understands negotiation, he thinks we're using very appropriately the Defense Production Act.
We'll keep monitoring this, and we'll come back to it afterwards. And we're going to be speaking to an expert on commercial real estate, because that's going to be a problem here as we come to the 1st of April. I'm Howie Carr.
There's an old saying in politics, if you can't dazzle them with brilliant.
They want to do it. As you know, General Motors is involved, Ford's involved, 3M's involved, others are involved, and they're all working very hard to produce all different products. We had very little product when we came. We built it up, and we give it away as fast as we can to the different states. We're also, as you know, building numerous hospitals and medical centers throughout certain areas in New York. It's at the convention center, the Javits Convention Center. We're doing 4 hospitals, and we're doing throughout the state 4 medical centers there, somewhat different. I want you to know that I'm doing everything in my power to help the city pull through this challenge. I'm working very hard in New York. It's really by far our biggest problem. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be. But there's a lot of good, capable people working on it with us, and our teams are working very well with the state representatives. We're also doing some very large testings throughout the country. I told you yesterday that in South Korea, and this is not a knock in any way, because I just spoke with President Moon. We had a very good conversation about numerous other things, but they've done a very good job in testing. But we now are doing more testing than anybody by far. We do more in 8 days than they do in 8 weeks, and we go up on a daily basis exponentially. So it's really good. By the way, while I'm on it, I also spoke with Prime Minister Abe of Japan last night, and I congratulated him on a wise choice. I think it's going to be a fantastic Olympics 2021. I think it's going to be a fantastic Olympics. It was the absolute right decision to delay it for a full year and now have a full, beautiful Olympics. It's going to be very important because it's probably the first time, maybe ever, or certainly in a long time, that it was on a odd year. It's always on an even year, they tell me. But he's going to have a fantastic success, and now they'll have even more time. He didn't need any more time. Everything was perfectly ready. What a job they've done. But Japan, I want to congratulate Japan, the IOC, and Prime Minister Abe on a great decision. I think it's going to be a fantastic Olympics. I told him I'll be there. I'll be there. As we fight to protect American lives, we're also protecting American livelihoods. Democrats and Republicans in the Senate are very close to passing an emergency relief bill for American workers, families, and businesses. This legislation, in addition to the 2 bills I signed this month, that includes, as you know, sick leave, and we have all sorts of things in for the workers, for families. But we have a tremendous paid sick leave provision for workers at no cost at all to the employers. And that's a big thing, no cost to the employers. We want to get everybody back working. Together, this $2.2 trillion legislative package is bigger than anything, I believe, ever passed in Congress. Perhaps, relatively speaking, if you go back, look during the FDR New Deal days, there was something that if you time value it, you could say it was good. I don't know, but this is certainly, in terms of dollars, by far and away the biggest ever done. And that's a tremendous thing, because a lot of this money goes to jobs, and families. The Senate bill, as you know, includes $350 billion in job retention loans for small businesses, with loan forgiveness available for businesses that continue paying their workers. They continue paying their workers. That's what we want. We want them to keep their workers and pay their workers. This will help businesses keep workers in the payroll and allow our economy to quickly accelerate as soon as we defeat the virus. $300 billion in direct cash payments will be available for every American citizen earning less than $99,000 per year. That would be $3,400 very quickly for the typical family of 4. Nothing like that's ever been done in our country. Up to $250 billion in expanded unemployment benefits. The average worker who has lost his or her job will receive 100% of their salary for up to 4 full months. Unlike normal unemployment benefits, independent contractors and the self-employed will be eligible. So you have independent contractors and self-employed people will be eligible for this. Over $100 billion to support the heroic work of our doctors, nurses, and hospitals. They've been incredible. $45 billion for disaster relief fund. So we are setting up a fund of $45 billion for disaster relief. That's more than doubling the amount available to support my national emergency and disaster declarations. It's a doubling up. $27 billion to build up the strategic national stockpile with critical supplies, including masks, respirators, pharmaceuticals, and everything you can imagine, because it was very depleted, like our military was depleted. Now we have a brand new military Never had a military like this. We have equipment either coming or it's already come. For the most part, it's already come, but we have a lot of things that will soon be coming. Planes, missiles, rockets, lots of things. But the stockpile was very depleted, like everything else. This will also include significant funding for the development of vaccines on top of the $8 billion we approved several weeks ago. Over $500 billion in support for the hardest hit industries, with a ban on corporate stock buybacks, which is something I insisted on. And frankly, I tell you, the Republicans wanted that and the Democrats wanted that. We want them to use the money for the companies and the planes or whatever they may be helping to get over this rough patch. And I don't think it's going to end up being such a rough patch. I think it's going to, when we open, especially if we can open it, the sooner the better, it's going to open up like a rocket ship. I think it's going to go very good and very quickly. And you're going to have some tough new limits on executive compensation also. They need the money. They're going to have to sort of just make things work because we're interested in the workers, the jobs. And we're interested in the companies because that's really what fuels the workers in those great jobs. And we also have $16 billion in funding for the purchase of personal protective equipment. You know about that, such as masks and respirators through the Strategic National Stockpile. I encourage the House to pass this vital legislation and send the bill to my desk for signature without delay. I will sign it immediately. We will have a signing, and it'll be a great signing and a great day for the American worker and for American families, and frankly, for American companies, some of which were having the best years they've ever had these last few years. And then a little bit less than a month ago, they went into a position that they haven't seen because of the hidden enemy, the virus. Earlier today, I spoke to the leaders of many of America's amazing nonprofit organizations. I thank them for their unwavering devotion to American people, to American. Remember, there's more tests than anybody by far. And
Taylor,
the news, the reporters, the media always likes to bring South Korea. They called me and they told me it's amazing. Your testing procedures are amazing. Plus, we have a test that's a very high level test. And it's a test that's very accurate. 3.1 million face shields, 2.6 million surgical gowns, 14.6 million gloves, and almost 6,000 ventilators, which go to the areas of greatest needs. We sent, over the last day, 4,000 ventilators to New York. And I spoke with the governor about that. He was happy. I spoke with the mayor also about that, Mayor de Blasio. He was very happy. It's hard not to be happy with the job we're doing. That I can tell you. Throughout this national emergency, everyday heroes continue to step forward and demonstrate the extraordinary character of our
their
nation.
wokeness above your life, as they always do and always will.
unchained and unstoppable.
Yes.
Do you have Carl's, what his title of his company is?
Yeah, hold on. We'll put it up.
Okay, thanks.
You're on, go.
844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. The president is just going through his laundry list of what they've done today, and sending 4,000 ventilators to New York, that sort of thing. And we're going to take some of the press conference again when he goes back to taking questions. But there's really not much that it's pretty much this sort of stuff you've seen before. But joining us now is Carl Valeri, and he ran one of the major Boston real estate companies for a number of years, and he is now the principal of Viceroy Capital Management. And we wanted to talk to him about the commercial real estate situation. This is another, and there's so many aspects to this story, whether it's just bottle deposits or the price of gasoline, but one of the things that hasn't gotten nearly as much play yet, it's going to be in the forefront in the next few days as we reach the first of the month, is commercial real estate. Businesses that are shut down, how are they going to make the payments to their landlords or to the banks that own the notes on the property that they own? Carl Valeri, thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
I just want to say one word before we get started. Thank you to all the first responders who are in the front line supporting all the critical services. Thank you.
Right. No, exactly. That is a good point. They're doing a great job, and they're certainly working hard. And so, Carl, what's going to happen on April 1st?
A lot of silence. This issue, whether it's physical or financial, no one is immune from it. Every industry is commingled in this. The real estate industry being the largest industry in the world, from tenants to vendors to utility companies to borrowers and lenders. Everyone has been impacted by it. So on April 1st, you'll have those tenants who have the ability to pay, and then you have a good majority of those people who either live week to week or month to month. And there'll be a lot of conversations going on between landlords and tenants for sure.
I think they're already starting, aren't they? My wife, the mailroom manager, who you know well, she was down at yesterday, and some of the people that are in our building, they're landlords in New England and elsewhere, and they're already getting emails and texts from their tenants saying that they just can't come up with the money. I mean, I don't know if they can come up with anything, but how do you write a check when you don't have any money coming in yourself?
It is very difficult. We started 2 weeks ago with our tenant base. We emailed and handed out letters basically to everyone. For those who can pay on time, they can have a 10% discount. And for those that can't, we'll be sitting with them. And you just need to be compassionate. Everyone needs to be rowing in the same direction on this. The lenders are finally coming around to this as well. Freddie Mac just issued a proclamation regarding all of its borrowers and extending credit out for 3 months without having to make any payments. I'm not sure that's long enough, but clearly everyone's in the same boat in this.
And if
there isn't a retailer or an office user, a vendor that is not impacted by this.
And so if you're a landlord and your tenant can't make the payment, whether it's commercial or residential, then many, or if not most, landlords are also, for lack of a better phrase, in hock to the banks, right? They've got to make their own payments.
Yeah.
So what do they do?
Yes, they are. So what they do is they talk to their lenders and they demonstrate that they've had problems with collections. And at the same time, they should be talking to their tenants and working out arrangements where there's partial payment made and that the balance of it is told for the future, whether it's over a 6-month period, a 12-month period.
So what you're saying is that, so if I could, if I owned a small restaurant and I said I could only make 25% of my monthly payment to my landlord, that you're saying that the landlord is going to insist that I'm on the hook for that other 75% down the road, but I'm never going to get the money back. If my restaurant's closed tonight, I'm never going to make the money back that I would have made tonight, right? Or next week.
Well, sure, but that presumes that they haven't had anything put away and set aside to start with.
Questions.
So, for example, at Viceroy, we plan on making our mortgage payments on time. We plan on paying all our utility bills, our vendors, all on time without discount. But we do have some scale, and so we're able to provide discount to the residents that can pay on time. But for those others, whether they be retailers or the like, there's an amount of money that they're going to negotiate to be paid back over a period of time. And it's not something that should kill the person the following month and the second and third month. It's basically amortizing what they can pay over a longer period of time.
Okay, Carl, we're going to have to break to go to the president. He's taking questions now, but we really appreciate you being with us, Viceroy Capital Management.
You're very welcome.
And this is an issue. It's going to be in the forefront in the next week or so as we reach when the monthly payments are due to your landlord or your bank. Thanks for being with us, Carl Valeri from Viceroy Capital Management. Let's go back now to the White House, and the president is taking questions.
Changing, but they have specifications so that our equipment designed specifically so that our equipment can't come into their countries. It's a very terrible thing that's happened to our country. And let me tell you, some of the people that took the biggest advantage of us are allies. We talk about allies. They took advantage of us in many ways, but financially as well as even militarily. When you if you look at NATO, the abuse that was given to our country on NATO, where they wouldn't pay. And we were paying for everybody. We're paying now because of me. They're paying a lot. Now they paid $135 billion more. And then ultimately, Secretary General Stoltenberg, who I think you would say is maybe my biggest fan, we got him to pay an additional $400 billion other countries. And but that, and then there's the trade. They make it almost impossible for us to have a fair deal. They know this. They know I'm just waiting. We have all the advantages, by the way. It's going to be easy when I decide to do it. But this isn't the right time to do it. But we've been treated very, very unfairly by the European Union.
Mr. President, 4 Republican senators have indicated that the extra $600 for unemployment insurance may encourage workers to leave their jobs, even though you can only collect unemployment if you're fired. I'm curious what you think of that concern.
Well, I know the issue very well. We talked about it just a little while ago. I'm going to let you maybe discuss that.
Sure. Now, the president and I spoke to several of those senators today, but let me just explain the issue, which is we wanted to have enhanced unemployment insurance. Most of these state systems have technology that's 30 years old or older. So if we had the ability to customize this with much more specifics, we would have. This was the only way we could assure that the states could get money out quickly in a fair way. So we used $600 across the board. And I don't think it'll create incentives. Most Americans, what they want to keep their jobs. And I said for 50% of these businesses, they will have the businesses keep those jobs. So this was our number one issue was how do we make sure that American workers who needed to keep getting paid, this is no fault of their own, that businesses have been shut down. The president and vice president wanted to make sure those hardworking Americans got money. And this was the most efficient way of doing it.
Senators that you spoke with, are they in agreement now?
I'm not going to comment on the specifics of where they are, but I would say, our expectation is this bill passes tonight and gets to the House tomorrow, and they pass it. We need to get this money into the American economy and American workers. That's the importance of this.
That was Steve Mnuchin, the president's Treasury Secretary. We're going to take a break at this point. We're going to continue to monitor, and we'll come back to it when we return from our break. I'm Howie Carr.
Give it here, chumps.
Retired FBI agent Robert Levinson says that U.S. officials have concluded that he's died in Iranian custody. Are you aware of that? And how did U.S. officials reach that conclusion?
I've been very much involved in that. And he was a great gentleman and a great family. It's just, I have to say this, and they've been making the statement to the family, I believe, but it's not looking good. He wasn't well for years anyway in Iran. It's not looking promising. We've gotten so many people back. We got 2 people back this week, but Robert Levinson, who was outstanding, he's been sick for a long time, and he had some rough problems prior to his detainment or capture, and we feel terribly for the family. But
do you accept that he is dead?
No, I don't accept that he's dead. I don't accept it. I'm telling you, it's not looking great, but I won't accept that he's dead. They haven't told us that he's dead, but a lot of people are thinking that is the case. Feel badly about it.
Mr. President, you tweeted earlier linking the closing of the country to your election success in November. Is this Easter timeline based on your political interests?
What do you mean by election success? No.
You tweeted, you said that the media wants the country to remain closed to hurt your odds.
No, I think the media, the media would like to see me do poorly in the election. I think
lawmakers and economists on both sides of the aisle have said that reopening the country by Easter is not a good idea. What is that plan based on?
Just so you understand. Are you ready? I think there are certain people that would like it not to open so quickly. I think there are certain people that would like it to do financially poorly because they think that would be very good as far as defeating me at the polls. And I don't know if that's so, but I do think it's so that there are people in your profession that would like that to happen. I think it's very clear. I think it's very clear that there are people in your profession that write fake news. You do. She does. There are people in your profession that write fake news. They would love to see me for whatever reason, because we've done one hell of a job. Nobody's done the job that we've done. And it's lucky that you have this group here right now for this problem, or you wouldn't even have a country left. Okay, go ahead.
Mr. President, 2 questions. The first one, once you sign the $2 trillion package, how soon or how rapidly do you expect to see economic growth?
Who are you with?
On the CBN? And my second question is, we are hearing you are pushing for April 6th to have direct payments issued to taxpayers. Is that the target date?
I think it's
again. I would say our expectation is within 3 weeks we will have direct payments out where we have depository information, and we're looking to get a lot more information, and we have procedures to do that. So 3 weeks for that, and I would say the end of next week we want all the banks to be able to originate loans same day.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have 2 questions for you. One is that tomorrow you're going to be speaking with the G20 leaders, and I want to know if you're going to lead an effort to craft a worldwide ban on wild animal markets so as to prevent another pandemic, given that COVID-19 is a zoonotic that was transferred to humans in trade of exotic animals.
Yeah, I don't know that subject's going to come up. There is a lot of talk that that's how this all happened, came out of China, and they say that's how it happened in China. So it's something maybe will be talked about, but it's not the top of my list.
Yes,
I think we're going to have a very good conference tomorrow.
Well, and to follow up, also, and Dr. Ashish Shah, who's the head of Harvard's Global Health Institute, says that the key to getting this economy open as soon as possible is to test everyone who needs testing so we can quarantine all infected individuals and allow everyone else to go back to work immediately. Would you subscribe to that strategy?
No, but we have tested more than anybody. I saw it.
And if not, how many deaths are acceptable?
Yeah. How many? None. Okay. How many deaths are acceptable to me? None. Okay, none. If that's your question. Look, I saw him. I saw his statement. We have tested by far more than anybody. We're testing more than anybody right now. There's nobody even close.
This is Karen from Billerica, Massachusetts.
This is Adrian in Swanton, Vermont.
This is Miss Susan up in Warner, New Hampshire. And this is the Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. You know, he's taking questions, and it's the usual mix. You know, some of them are legit questions, and some of them are just, gotcha questions, and some of them are just like off the wall. So you got a question about how was he going to talk with the leaders of the G20 to try to get people to stop eating these animals at these wet markets that may have caused the virus to go from animals to humans. I mean, what can he do? What can he do about a wet market in Wuhan, China? And then they said, would you agree that everybody should be tested? And if not, how do you get everybody tested if they don't want to be tested? What are you going to do? Is send people around with guns, drag them out of their house at gunpoint? And then he said, and if not so, how many deaths are acceptable to you? I don't know how he takes it day after day, but let's go back to the press conference.
System that I inherited. We have now tested with the best test far more than anybody else. And when I say anybody else, I'm talking about other countries. No country is even close. They came out with a statistic, yesterday that I heard from Dr. Birx, where it's for eight days here, more than 8 weeks in South Korea. And South Korea's done a good job. But we did in 8 days more than South Korea did in 8 weeks. That's a big number. And we're getting, I said before, exponentially better. Every day it's going up substantially. We have an incredible apparatus built
exponentially.
Now. But no, I don't want to test 350 million people. I think it's ridiculous. Yes, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. 2 questions. One follow-up on the G20, because the UN asked the G20 countries to do for more resources for a coordinated stimulus package, ban on tariffs, waive on sanctions to try to prevent what they call an apocalyptic pandemic. Would you consider those measures? And
with respect to what?
On tariffs, and also related also to waive tariffs, and also
we have strong borders.
Waive tariffs.
And would you consider to join this global effort?
So before I came here, we weren't into borders. We had a country, people could come in. We had a whole different deal. Now we're up to almost 164 miles. Think of that, 164 miles of wall, big, beautiful wall. And in those areas, it's very, very tough to come in. We've been very tough on the borders. I mean, where we have the wall built, nobody's getting through. Now they're going around, but that's a long trip. They're going around. That's the way they get through. But no, I'm very strong on borders, and I don't want people coming in here. What I want is, if they're going to come in, they have to come in legally. They have to come in through merit. We're not having the people that you're talking about come into our country. All right.
Thank you, sir. Question for you and then for Dr. Fauci, if you'll let me. Both Republican and Democrat packages of the stimulus included $25 million worth of funding for the Kennedy Performance Arts Center here in Washington, D.C. Shouldn't that money be going to masks, respirators?
Well, I tell you what, I approved that. And I knew it was $35 million, and we actually took off 10. But I'm a fan of that, although I haven't spent time there because I'm far too busy. I'd love to go there evenings, but I'm too busy doing things because that's more important for me than going there. But the Kennedy Center has suffered greatly because nobody can go there. It's essentially closed. And they do need some funding. And I said, look, that was a Democrat request. That was not my request. But you got to give them something. It's something that they wanted. It works that way. The Democrats have treated us fairly. I really believe that we've had a very good back and forth. And I say that with respect to Chuck Schumer. I spoke to him a number of times. But, they had requests also. So that was a request. There were 35, as you know, and it came down to 25. We got it down to 25. We agreed. I said, that's a lousy soundbite. That's not a good soundbite. But that's the way life works. With that being said, the Kennedy Center, they do a beautiful job, an incredible job. David Rubenstein does a fantastic job. He's very much involved, and he puts up a lot of money, and he does things that a lot of people wouldn't be able to do or do. But they've been essentially closed. They have tremendous deficits that are built up. I mean, this thing has been devastating to it. So I didn't have a big problem with it. But this was a request from the Democrats because of the fact that they have a facility that's essentially closed up.
Yeah. Another question, sir.
In other words, you couldn't go there if you wanted to. If I wanted to go there tonight to look at Romeo and Juliet, I'd love to see Romeo and Juliet tonight, right? You know what would happen? They say, sorry, 250 people or 50 people, whatever it might be down to. Go ahead.
And then earlier today, Senator Marco Rubio told RCP that, quote, the World Health Organization showed favoritism to China, unquote. And then Representative Michael McCall, the ranking member on the House Foreign Relations Committee, he questioned the integrity of the World Health Organization's director, saying, quote, that there were several red flags in his past with respect to his relationship with China. Do you agree? Do you think the World Health Organization showed favoritism? And then once all the dust settles, do you think that?
Yeah, I think that's a question to be answered when the dust settles. And I think that's what the president's going to say to that. We'll be back with more when we come back. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Buying a new car.
And a lot of people are not. Yourself and other people. There are people on there that we like and we know. A lot of, I think your friends are on there. A lot of good people, a lot of good professionals. I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear if you'd like to talk about the World WHO. But the fact is that I have heard for years that is very much biased toward China. So I don't know. Doctor, you want me to get you into this political mess?
No, I don't want you to do that, but I will. Tedros is really an outstanding person. I've known him from the time that he was the Minister of Health of Ethiopia. I mean, obviously, over the years, anyone who says that the WHO has not had problems has not been watching the WHO. But I think under his leadership, they've done very well. He has been all over this. I was on the phone with him a few hours ago, leading a WHO call.
Praising China's transparency, sir?
No, I'm not talking about China. You asked me about Tedros.
World Health Organization praising China for its transparency and leadership on their response to the pandemic?
You know, I can't comment on that because I mean that I don't have any viewpoint into it. I mean, I don't even know what your question is.
Can I follow up on that phone call, please?
Welcome to the game. You know, let me just tell you, I've heard that for years. I spoke to him yesterday. Seems fine to me. I don't know. But we're the ones that gave the great response, and we're the ones that kept China out of here. And if we didn't do it, you'd have thousands and thousands of people who would have died that are now living and happy. If I didn't do that early, call on China, and nobody wanted that to happen. Everybody thought it was just unnecessary to do it. And if we didn't do that, thousands and thousands of people would have died, more than what's happened. So that's it. All right, maybe one more, Steve. Go ahead.
When you have this G20 meeting tomorrow, what sort of coordinated response are you expecting?
No coordinate. We're going to have a meeting with 20 nations total, including us, and it'll be a conference call tomorrow morning sometime. I look forward to people I know I like. I think in every instance, I like every one of them. But it'll be an interesting call. You'll be the first to know.
Next week, when the 15-day period ends, what should we expect then? Are you going to extend it for another
week?
We'll
be talking. I'll be speaking. I'll be speaking with Tony. I'll be speaking with Deborah. I'll be speaking with some of the people that they like and respect, and they're going to bring along with them. We'll be speaking to Vice President Mike Pence and Steve, and we'll be speaking to everybody. I'm not going to do anything rash or hastily. I don't do that. But the country wants to get back to work. Our country was built to get back to work. We don't have a country where they say, hey, let's close it down for 2 years. We can't do that. It's not our country. So we're going to be talking, and it could be we'll do sections of our country. There's big sections of our country that are very, little affected by what's taken place. Then there are other sections that are very heavily affected. So there's a big difference. But no, I would say by Easter, we'll have a recommendation, and maybe before Easter, and at the end of the 15th day, or even during the 15th day, I think we'll have some kind of a recommendation. But our country wants to get back to work, Steve. I have had so many people, and they want to practice social distancing, and they want to practice no handshaking. No handshaking. They're not going to walk around hugging and kissing each other in the office when they come back, even though they may feel like it. They're going to wash their hands more than they've ever done. They're going to do all the things you're supposed to do. But Steve, you know what? It's time. People want to get back to work. I get it from both sides, in all fairness. And maybe it's a combination of both. Tony said before, a combination of both is sometimes very good. But there are areas that probably, they won't qualify. There are other areas that qualify almost now. So we're going to have to see what happens. But it'll be an interesting period of time. I'd like to get our country back. I have tremendous numbers of people wanting to go back. You have store owners where the store is sitting there. They don't know what's happening. They got to get back. You have businesses that are going to be closed. The longer we stay out, the longer we do it, we want to go quickly. The longer we stay out, the harder it is to bring this incredible, we were having the most successful years that we've ever had in the history of our country. You saw what happened yesterday with the stocks, and today they're up. I'm telling you, if Steve gets the deal done, the incredible incentive is going to take care of people.
Since the Dems are down on Russia, we might as well go after all the communist dictatorships that are left, right? Russia isn't even a communist dictatorship; it's just authoritarian now. But let's call it Red China.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. He's wrapping it up right now. He's taking all these questions. Somebody has a 917 had a great text here. I hate that he has to be nice to these bums, and they get a free shot at kicking him in the family jewels. That's what it is. That question about the Kennedy Center. I mean, that was a legit question, I thought, because it's got a $25 million bailout for the Kennedy Center, and this, all of these proposals that are wending their way through the legislature, through the Congress. And so can you imagine, though, someone like Jennifer Rubin, who was for moving the embassy in Israel to Jerusalem before Trump actually moved the embassy. So whatever he's for, she's against, and vice versa. She hated the Paris Climate Accord, so-called, until he pulled us out of them. And then she became a real believer in the Paris Climate Accords. So whatever he said, if he'd have said, I demanded that they take out the $25 or the $35 million for the Kennedy Center to bail them out because I don't believe that, she'd write, Trump is a Philistine. But now he said, okay, well, they needed the money and it's a good place. So I went along with it. We just cut it from 35 to 25. Trump, she can now write, is a creature of the deep state. He doesn't mean what he says. That's the way it's going to be. I mean, he understands that. I think we all understand that. That whatever he does, he's not going to get credit for it. And they just, I mean, it seems inconceivable that Joe Biden could be a legitimate candidate for president still, doesn't it? But it's just they just need some figure to run against Trump. They don't care who it is. It can even be Joe Biden. That's how bad it is. Is there anything? Is he still taking questions there, Taylor? Or is it over? Is he doing anything? I thought he said this was going to be his last question, so I don't know. So we'll do the poll question. He's all done. Okay, so experience the amazing benefits of Super Beats. Get a free 30-day supply, free shipping, and free nitric oxide strips to test your nitric oxide levels with your first purchase when you visit www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Is Joe Biden worse as a real candidate or a virtual candidate?
I think he's worse as a virtual candidate myself.
37% say he's worse as a virtual candidate.
All right.
We do have cuts from the press conference that some of our audience and even you, Howie, may have missed.
Okay, let's hear them.
He's asked a question about how many deaths are acceptable.
Oh, I heard.
And to follow up, also, and Dr. Ashish Shah, who's the head of Harvard's Global Health Institute, says that the key to getting this economy open as soon as possible is to test everyone who needs testing so we can quarantine all infected individuals and allow everyone else to go back to work immediately. Would you subscribe to that strategy?
No, but we have tested more than anybody. I saw him.
And if not, how many deaths are acceptable?
Yeah. How many? None. Okay. How many deaths are acceptable to me? None. Okay, none. If that's your question. Look, I saw him. I saw his statement. We have tested by far more than anybody. We're testing more than anybody right now. There's nobody even close. And our tests are the best tests. They're the most accurate tests. But if you're saying we're going to test 350 million people, I watched his statement. I disagree with it. We can go to certain states. I could name them now, but I'm not going to do that. But we can go to certain states right now.
There are people in this country who won't get their kids vaccinated against the measles. I mean, how are you going to test everybody in the country? That's a preposterous question. That's a gotcha question. And then the follow-up, so if you're not willing to go door to door and drag people out at the point of a gun to get them tested, then how many deaths are acceptable? I mean, what kind of questions are these? Good Lord.
Feel badly about it.
Mr. President, you tweeted earlier linking the closing of the country to your election success in November. Is this Easter time?
No, the media would like to see me do poorly in the election. I think
lawmakers and economists on both sides of the aisle have said that reopening the country by Easter is not a good idea. What is that plan based on?
Just so you understand. Are you ready? I think there are certain people that would like it not to open so quickly. I think there are certain people that would like it to do financially poorly because they think that would be very good as far as defeating me at the polls. And I don't know if that's so, but I do think it's so that there are people in your profession that would like that to happen. I think it's very clear. I think it's very clear that there are people in your profession that write fake news. You do. She does. There are people in your profession that write fake news. They would love to see me for whatever reason, because we've done one hell of a job. Nobody's done the job that we've done. And it's lucky that you have this group here right now for this problem, or you wouldn't even have a country left. Okay.
You know, they always used to say on the Sunday shows before they'd hit a Republican, well, you know, your critics say. So now the new version of that is lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. That means Chuck Schumer and Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney he's the lawmaker, plural, on both sides of the aisle. He's it's just, I don't know. It's outrageous. And you know, there's more stories. We talked with John Heineracker earlier from powerlineblog.com, and he was citing the ratings from the Associated Press about it. These press conferences are getting fantastic ratings, and that's why the alt-left media wants to shut them down. They want to CNN and MSNBC don't want to, even though they're getting record ratings compared to the normal anemic pablum that they put out on their networks. They don't want to give him any benefit of the doubt. And part of the reason why they're getting good ratings is because he's dealing with these people. I mean, these are cartoon versions of so-called journalists out there. I mean, they're just they hate him. They don't even try to mask their contempt. They're filled with vitriol and venom against this guy. 844-500-4242. And he understands that. And I think he understands it's good for him ultimately. I mean, it must be a real burden to have to put up with this crap day after day, but it helps him. Ultimately, it helps his political fortunes, and it's good for the people to hear that this guy can take it. and that he's doing the best he can, and that the people that are covering him want him to fail, and they want us to fail. They don't want us to have jobs. They don't want us to have businesses. They don't want our kids to be gainfully employed. David, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, David.
Hey, Howie. Yeah, the press, they're just disgraceful. It's just despicable how they treat the president. I called because I was tested recently for the virus, for corona, yesterday, and they say it takes 24 to 48 hours. I live in Burlington, Vermont, and had to go to adjacent city, Essex. It's called. Taylor will know it. He's from Vermont, I think. So and you drive up in your car and you get tested,
right, with
a swab, and they haven't called yet. So tomorrow morning, if they don't call, I'm gonna call them. But it's almost like I feel kind of ostracized, just in my apartment in Burlington, and some of the people in the apartment building, sort of senior housing. I'm 58, but most of them are older than me, and they found out that I worked at this place. It's a certain company in Burlington that has a lot of deaths happening because of the virus.
So they're ostracized. They don't want to have anything to do with you because you work at this company.
Well, sort of. I heard from the building manager that people are gossiping and saying, "Oh, David, he works at Burlington Health and Meat." Whoops, I just said the name of the company. Sorry.
What can you do, David? I mean, that's just one of those things. I mean, they got too much time on their hands. That's all there is to it. I hope things work out for you, and I hope your test comes back negative. Thanks for the call. Tom, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, good afternoon. Great to talk to you. One of the few movies that really stands up to the hype over time, in my humble opinion, is Casablanca. Today, I was granted my papers to move freely about the People's Republic of Spain. There are your papers.
Don't you get the feeling that some of these politicians would like to reinstitute that regimen of having to produce your papers? I mean, the governor of Nevada, saying you can't use the anti-malarial drugs for anything but what it's prescribed for, or the mayor of L.A. saying he's going to cut off power and water to people who keep their businesses open. I mean, there's a group of people in this country, and they're not all Democrats, mostly Democrats, but not all Democrats who this power is going to their heads. Don't you think, Tom?
I do. And so what did Rahm Emanuel say? Never let a crisis go to waste.
Right.
You recall that?
Yes.
The Woody Allen movie, I'm thinking maybe everybody should wear their underwear on the outside to make sure they're changing it. But anyways, hey, one last thing. I am 62, going on 63. I'm a runner. I'm in pretty good shape. But, Howie, wait, there's more. I get to line up at 6 o'clock in the morning because I'm a senior citizen. And when they open those doors, I'm going to fly past the people in the walkers and the canes, and I'm going to get that damn toilet.
Thanks for the call, Tom. Down here, they open the doors on Tuesday and Wednesday to Publix at 7 o'clock for the quote unquote senior citizens. So I went in there today at like 7:15 and I saw it. It's the old thing. You can't really stop people from going in. Once the doors are open, anybody goes in. It doesn't really matter. It's just a suggestion. But of course, this is America, so everybody just goes in. And so then I walked in at 7:15 and I looked at the local, they call it the shiny sheet, the Palm Beach Daily News. And that's where I discovered that the bike path had now been shut down from 8 to 5 for people over the age of 12. So if I'm under the age of 12, I can still go on the bike path between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. But unfortunately, I can't pass myself off as being 11 years old. So I said, well, I'm going to go out one last day here. Tomorrow I'll go out at dawn, at the crack of dawn, for my bike ride. But I got there and I did my bike. It's about 40 minutes. and it got to be like 8:10. Hey, I know. I didn't see the paper till 7:15. Don't I get it? And then the next cop. Hey, same thing. And then I'm getting close to the building. I'm almost done on my bike ride. And there's this no-nonsense grandma, had to be 85. You know what Dapper would say? She should have been home praying for a happy death. Don't you read the newspapers? You can't be out here now. Wait a second, Granny. I'm just a very mature-looking 11 years old. I should be, and I don't understand this whole thing. They in this county, we got somebody who's 6 years old who tested positive for coronavirus. I can't. The 10-year-old bike rider could pass on the virus just like I could.
Wait a second. Wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger out riding his bike and his doctor told him that was probably the best exercise you could do right now because you're not coming into contact with anybody?
None of this makes any sense, Taylor. This is just my little example of nutty stuff.
Howie's going to start dressing like a kid. What's up, guys? It's me. I'm just a kid like you.
Can I get a beanie? Can you make me a beanie hat and send it down?
I'm just a righteous dude trying to ride my bicycle.
Look at my Schwinn, man. Santa Claus brought this to me last Christmas, and you want to put me out of business. I did go to Palm Beach Public School. Could I pass by? Granted, it was a few years ago now, but I'm just a student at Palm Beach Public School. Mrs. Whitehouse is my teacher. Don't tell me she's been dead for 55 years. She was my teacher in the 2nd grade, and now I'm in the 4th grade.
All right, break.
Copper. All right, 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the guru of craft. It's Howie Carr.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Terry Riley of Robert Paul Properties. Terry is your Cape Cod real estate expert. Her vast experience will help you navigate the market and make the process easy and fun. Call Terry Riley at 508-776-6182.
Hey guys, it's Grace. Howie is always giving me great advice. Never speak when you can nod. Always get the deposit money on empty cans. But the best advice he ever gave me was to call the car guys to get my first used car. I had tried to go to dealerships in the past, but just ended up feeling intimidated. But Bill Papa George from the car guys was the perfect solution. He got me the greatest car at the greatest price. Call the car guys today at 800-300-4600. I promise you won't be disappointed. That's 800-300-4600. Tell them Grace sent you.
Cape Gunworks has added virtual online classes during this difficult time. Based in Hyannis, Cape Gunworks remains open 7 days a week for all of your gun and ammo needs. The range is also open full-time. Cape Gunworks now carries the MyCube Survival Safe. This safe is good for ammo, cash, and your pistol. To learn more about the online classes, go to capegunworks.com. That's capegunworks.com. capegunworks.com.
And now, an interview with the Emperor of Hate, Howie Carr.
Would you say you're more like your mom or your dad?
No, I don't think I ended up being like either of them, now that I think about it. My mother worked hard, but she never really learned how to make a lot of money. And my father didn't work so hard, but he had a good personality. He was good with people. He was better than me with people. That's why I'm saying I'm not like either one of them, I don't think.
Did you have any siblings?
Yes, I have a brother, a younger brother.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Well, all kinds of history. I loved all kinds of history.
If you could have 3 houses besides the ones you already have, anywhere in the world, where would they be?
I wouldn't mind having another house in Palm Beach on Clark Avenue. Maybe a place in southern Maine. I don't need a third place.
Didn't you already have a house in Maine?
I did. It was on an island. It was not a good fit for the mailroom manager.
I've heard the house was haunted. Is that true?
Yes. And, my wife didn't really care that much for my relatives. Campers, have you thought of upgrading your RV or camper this year? This is Howie Carr. Right now at Cold Springs RV, you can shop great preseason deals on a brand new 2020 camper. Go see the latest in pop-ups, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motor homes. Cold Springs RV is your one-stop shop with over 200 acres of all things camping. It started with a camp resort, then came the RV center and superstore. Now they have the region's largest state-of-the-art service center and auto body shop. That makes Cold Springs your destination for all things camping. Remember, at Cold Springs RV, the doors are always open so you can freely browse. So go check out the latest 2020 models and see for yourself. If you're looking for a pre-owned RV, you'll also find one of the largest selections in New England. Don't miss the year's best selection and early bird savings at Cold Springs RV. And tell them Howie sent you. Cold Springs RV, Route 114 in Ware, New Hampshire. Online at coldspringsrv.com. I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
Tanny says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes. We're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second? Control room? So that's not gunshots? Okay.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. Not Montana. I'm talking about never mind.
Yeah, no, Chester, I mean, that's
I
Republicans could add to
was getting Montana and North Dakota confused because, I don't know, I just was.
Hi, this is John in the People's Republic of Amherst, Massachusetts.
This is Heather from Litchfield, Maine.
This is Kent, Wichita, Kansas, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
703 says, why can't you just identify as a 12-year-old? Exactly. If you can if I can identify as a woman, or the fake Indian can identify as a Native American and get an affirmative action slot at 2 Ivy League law schools, why can't I identify as an 11 years old, not 12?
How dare you?
860, when they outlaw bikes on the bike paths, only outlaws will be on the bike path. Oh. I'm going to be, the earlier caller mentioned Casablanca. I'm going to mention Dawn Patrol. That's what I'm going to be on tomorrow. Dawn Patrol on the bike path. So see, you can't transmit the coronavirus before 8 a.m. The coronavirus, there's a curfew on that too, apparently. It can't be transmitted before 8 p.m. or after 5 p.m. But between the hours of 8 and 5, it's the killing fields. Austin, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Austin.
Hey, how are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, no, I'm a 24-year-old millennial from the state of Maine.
Yeah.
Country state. No, I just want to talk about how, they're spending $2 to $4 trillion on this new stimulus bill.
Right.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Bailout.
No, and
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, and they complained a couple months ago about what, a couple $1 billion for the border wall. I don't see how that lines up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the point is now there's now the economy is in danger of being crashed. That's the difference. I understand. You're right. I mean, they don't, the Democrats in particular don't care about money when it's going to their favored constituents, but they don't want to bail out people who have a tendency to vote Republican. That's the way it is. All right. We'll be back. See you on the bike path at dawn. I'm Howie Carr.